Hey guys, welcome to another edition of FilmSpeak live, or actually FilmForum, I guess is what this is called now. Anyways, this is our new show that we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where we talk about the latest, topics or discussion points in the world of movie news and entertainment. Obviously, sometimes we touch on TV. If you caught the episode on Tuesday, obviously we touched on the Emmys and all that stuff. But we like to have a good time and just talk about what's going on in the world of entertainment. I'm of course your host, Griffin Schiller, and here at FilmSpeak, we like to say that the conversation continues after the credits. And this show is, of course, an extension of that. So if you are not subscribed to the channel already, be sure to do so if you want to be a part of that conversation. And I do want to give a special shout out to our patrons over on Patreon, because without them, this show would not be possible. They suggest a lot of the topics that we bring up on the show. And so if something like that interests you and your participation in this show and helping to shape it and craft it and whatnot is something that you'd be interested in doing, you can head on over to our Patreon and join, I believe, the $5 tier, and you can submit topics for us to cover on the news show. And you also get an audio-only version of FilmForum after every episode goes live on YouTube, and then I upload the audio version to the Patreon. But, of course, I don't do these alone. I am joined by two amazing guests. First and foremost, Kaleena is back. She's back, and she's ready for her to let her hot takes be known. But anyways, Kaleena, how are you doing?
I'm great, Griff. How are you?
I'm all right, a little rushed, and I having like all sorts of technical mishaps because as it happens on this show, but I'm doing all right. We have a lot of movies to talk about, and I'm really curious to kind of pick your thoughts on those. But and then we're also joined by Colin Williams. Colin, dude, how's it going?
What is up, man? Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be on.
Yeah, of course, for sure. So, starting off with this, obviously we touch on some movie news, and then we're going to talk about three movies I think that are coming out on demand this week or within the next couple of weeks. We're going to be giving reviews for She Dies Tomorrow, Calm with Horses, or The Shadow of Violence, which I'm really excited to talk about. And then all three of us are going to be talking about Yes, God, Yes. So we got a really jam-packed show for today. As always, be sure to leave your comments, your thoughts, and opinions on anything we discuss in the comments section if you're watching this on the replay, or in the live chat if you're watching us live. So starting off here, we are going into the AMC and Universal deals. So there is, needless to say, there's been a lot of turmoil between these two entities ever since the whole COVID thing happened, and Universal decided to release some of their films on VOD. And needless to say, AMC took issue with that. They took it as a personal attack, in some of the comments that the heads over at AMC were really it was they were fighting words. They were fighting words, to say the least. So anyways, now there has been sort of like an update on that whole thing. So Universal Pictures and AMC Theaters have basically put aside their bitter differences and signed a multi-year agreement that will allow the studio's films to premiere on premium video on demand within 3 weeks. 3 weeks of their theatrical debuts, which is nuts, and we'll get into that in a second. So in terms of specifics, the financial terms of the agreement were not disclosed. However, in a statement, AMC CEO Adam Aarons said the company will, quote unquote, share in these new revenue streams, which means that it will get a cut of any money made on these digital rentals. Universal only has the ability to put its movies on premium on demand, meaning the rentals that go for roughly $20 or more. It cannot sell the films or rent them for lower on-demand fees in the $3 to $6 range until 3 months after they debut in cinemas. And so even though, Universal can technically do this with any film they want to under this, agreement, they could put, Jurassic World, Dominion, or the new Fast and Furious on here for $20. I don't think that's sort of the route they're going to go here. They're going to leave those for the big screen spectacle and try and capitalize on the amount of money they can earn there. But anyways, so just that's the gist of this whole thing. Basically, 17 days after their debut, they can be on paid VOD for $20. So Kaleena, starting with you, because I know you've actually been on the dark for a lot of this, so I'm actually really curious to hear what your take is. What do you make of all this, and do you like this decision?
I think it's so stupid because I do not believe at this point that anything is being done to service the audience. I think it's just at this point like a monetary battle and a battle of titles and basically showmanship. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I think video on demand is a privilege to have right now because we're living through COVID. I think it's amazing that we still have the opportunity to be seeing new movies and that filmmakers who have spent 2+ years working and pouring their hearts into this still have a platform to get it out to people. I think that's especially relevant to families, which I know Universal does kind of what's marketed as a lot of family style movies, even something like Fast and Furious. I see a lot of families that go see that. So
it's literally a movie about families.
I love the Fast and Furious movies, man.
I like that the option exists, but like 3 weeks right after, that's so bizarre. I don't even understand how that's enough time to calculate like what regular box office revenue would be. I just can't make sense of this deal personally.
Yeah, it is. I can't. I'm gonna be honest. I can't say I'm surprised. I feel like this is the direction the industry was heading in, anyways. But and this whole pandemic basically just sort of like forced their hand with it. And obviously, you know, Universal doing what they did with Trolls, Invisible Man, and a couple of other properties really ticked off AMC. And so it's like AMC, I feel like, had to come at this with, oh shit, we have to do something to kind of like regain Universal, like bring them back into the fold. It's like, well, we could talk a big game and say, oh, we're never going to play Universal movies in our theaters ever again. But like, let's be real. When you have movies like F9, Jurassic World, and like the Minions movies, you need that revenue in your theaters and at your box office. So yeah, Colin, I know you have some strong opinions about this. What do you kind of make of this?
Man, this is like so... Like, I think this is so distasteful for the movie theater industry. And I think I think any other big theater chain, and then even small chains out there, or just mom and pop, like movie theater restaurants, I think they're looking at AMC and thinking like, this is like, they're traitors, you know? Cause like the whole idea of like the movie theater window is to have that 90 days to possibly, you know, make revenue off of these movies. And then, there's also a part of the deal where obviously, the preferred VOD Universal movies, AMC is going to take 10% of that money, which is really odd because, I mean, they just struck a deal, so that's fine. Like, that's business. That's what happens. But it's like, then you're not doing really any work, I guess. Basically, I think that's just Universal throwing AMC a bone. Like, hey, you're not going to be making much revenue after those first 17 days. So now we're going to give you 10% of the profits for preferred on demand, even though you're not doing anything after the theatrical release. I don't know. It's just, I'm kind of, this is weird news. I mean, you're right. It's kind of the right direction, or not the right direction, the direction that the industry was headed, but it's just kind of sad to see this kind of happen in like a short theatrical window like this. But Regal and some other big chains that they said that there's no way that they're going to do that. And I'm proud of them for doing that. It's kind of sticking their ground because I don't know. This is super weird news. I wasn't exactly shocked by it, but it just, I don't know. It's just, I'm not a fan.
No, for sure. And like the 17-day thing feels like I don't know, that feels like really short. Like what, maybe like 30 days or 60 days or something. I don't know.
I will say though, people were seeing movies those first couple weekends more than they ever have because of spoilers. So like, you know, if Avengers Endgame came out and this was a thing, then, you know, they'd probably be okay. I mean, that did make money after 17 days, but you'd get a big chunk of your revenue in that 17 days too. So I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. I think this is just putting the industry in the wrong direction.
It's really sad. Yeah, no, for sure. And Kaleena, I kind of want to get your take. Do you think other studios are going to sort of adopt a similar like mentality when doing this? Because I mean, we've already seen like Disney has sort of said, yeah, we're not really going to do that. We are big fans of the theatrical experience. We're going to keep doing and producing content the way we always have, and then releasing it on home media the way we always have. So, I mean, do you think anything like changes overall as a result of this?
No, I don't think so. And the reason for that is because I think that there was kind of like a question, you know, how much does the theatrical experience matter to the average moviegoer? You know, obviously, like our filmmakers are really going hard, like trying to make it happen. But in terms of like the everyday person who goes, do they really care if they're going to go pay, 15, 17, whatever, how many dollars to go see it in person, or they just sit at home? And then I think when COVID hit, I think it proved that people want to go to the theater. They want that experience. It matters to them having surround sound. And I think even pre-COVID, something like Ford versus Ferrari, I think that was a movie that people are like, damn, you have to see that in a theater. You have to see that. You have to feel the engine running in your seats. And so I think that with this move with Universal and AMC, AMC is already like on its way out. So I don't think they're exactly an example.
Of course, that's my theater, by the way. Of course, that's the theater I happen to go to.
Well, listen, same here. Like all around LA, it's all like AMC's and yeah, I know.
That's a beauty.
But that's a good point, because like it does sort of reek of desperation a little bit. Like we already see that they're about to go, or have been basically on the brink of bankruptcy for some time. So it's like them trying to like, compromise on a lot with Universal really shows that they're not in a good position, and they need, even if it is just 17 days of revenue, kind of what Colin was saying. Yeah, those 17 days are where a lot of movies make their money, right? The first couple weekends at the box office is like big numbers, and if the theaters can get a good share of that revenue, and then also get a percentage of the paid VOD stuff after that 17-day window, they're compromising a little bit, and they're putting a lot of faith into viewers that they want to go see a movie in the theater. But if they decide not to do that, they still have a backup plan. So it is interesting to kind of see how things are shifting around in this way. But yeah, no, Kaleena, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think the other thing that is kind of worth mentioning too is that Universal, and not to get too like inside baseball here, but of the major 7 studios, Universal statistically has been doing one of the worst financially. It's them and actually Warner Brothers. I just did literally like an 11-page report on this a couple months ago, and so Universal's kind of tanking. So not only is AMC kind of on its way out, Universal has not been showing themselves as like the profitable big studio to beat. Netflix is one of the top, and Amazon Studios is also coming out with a lot. And these smaller ones, A24, Neon, like their Annapurna is even kind of making a comeback. I just don't think that these are the 2 big names that everyone else is gonna be like, oh, maybe we should do what they're doing. I think they're gonna kind of let them do the test run, see how it goes. But I think we got at least another year with COVID before we kind of have a handle on it. And so I think there's a lot of time for things to change and for things to progress. So I'll be interested to see where we're at come like, prime season next year. I think that'll have a lot more interest for us.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I like that you brought up the other studios that are kind of like, well, I don't know, are we really going to do this? Because I agree, like someone like a Warner Brothers, absolutely not. I mean, granted, in the case of Scoob, I think that was a little bit different, just given that like theaters aren't even open. But like, when we are in, some sense of normalcy, I don't think Warner Brothers is ever going to do something like this, just because like so many of their films, like whether it's the DC movies, their prestige pictures, Nolan, all that stuff.
Nolan.
That's
Nolan
all
would
stuff that's made for.
I think Nolan would break ties with them if he did that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's not something I can see WB doing, just because like they're up there with the Disney. They're like the more auteur driven, big studio corporation. And so it's like they want their stuff shown on the big screen. Disney, obviously, big proponent of the theatrical experience. That's never going to change for them. So yeah, I do agree with you. I don't think that this is going to be like a trickle down effect where we see other studios doing something similar. Maybe I don't know, maybe some like Fox Searchlight stuff. I mean, even though that's under Disney, but like it's a little bit different. I don't know. Well, and let me pose this question to you. What films do you think are Universal going to utilize this with, the 17-day window? Because obviously, like, it's not going to be Minions, it's not going to be F9, it's not going to be Jurassic World. But I guess what kind of films do you see them doing this with. Colin, starting with you.
The king of Staten Island. They did that already. No, I mean, it's I mean, movies like that, basically. I mean, like those.
Yeah.
I think Judd Apatow, all his movies came from Universal, actually. So movies like that, you know, just smaller budgeted movies, the movies that they could probably make a profit off doing video on demand, and maybe something that could appeal to audiences even from like a home, because like there's certain movies, like, I mean, some people that love the movie theater experience even more than I do, which I still quite love it, will tell you that you have to see every movie in theaters. But there's certain movies that are smaller that you could see at home, and that would be really great, you know. And people that are, and then because of these smaller movies, they're usually gonna maybe have a more auteur flair to it, and then grandma and grandpa are watching them now because they have them to watch them at home and stuff. Hey, this is the new movie with Brad Pitt or whatever, and it's a smaller film or whatever. I don't know, but you know, something like that is kind of cool. I mean, I will say though, like during this whole like quarantine or whatever, like my mom and my parents have seen more movies that they probably wouldn't have seen because they went straight to streaming and stuff. So there's some benefits to it. Like my mom loved The King of Staten Island and stuff. We watched that together, and obviously The Five Bloods was a big hit. So, but that's kind of different because it's just straight to streaming stuff. But I mean, people, you know, this is an interesting experiment. Obviously, what's happening in the world is very unfortunate, and it was unprecedented. But I guess kind of I don't want to say silver lining, but we're seeing changes in the industry that may or may not need to be changed. But I guess it allows for evolving, and not just like the space like this, but we're seeing even movie theaters be much more clean with how they go about things. So we've kind of been seeing some positives a little bit with the rough things happening. So.
Yeah, for sure. Kaleena?
I think it's going to be their kids' movies and their animated movies. I think that's going to be the only way that makes sense. I don't know. Like did they do The Hunt? Was that Universal?
That was, yeah.
So that could have been a good example. I loved The Hunt, but I also see how it would have been just like a good Friday night popcorn movie on the couch too. So I think you kind of have to pick and choose, because there are definitely films that are made as they're being made with the intention, like, this is a theater popcorn movie. Like, you're going to sit with your family, you're going to set aside time on a Saturday. So I think they'll kind of just have to pre-designate that. But I imagine it'll mostly be. Yeah,
The Hunt was a good example. I actually really dug that movie too. I kind of, you know, I haven't really thought about it since I watched it, but I remember getting a kick out of it. But yeah, like, those were good movies. I definitely lost money because of the theatrical release. There's no doubt. Because it happened like in the middle of things.
Week of The Hunt was like, if I work in a movie theater, and The Hunt was the last movie.
That was the last theater that I worked. That was the last movie I saw in theaters. Theaters did open up back in Florida, like, you know, mass precaution type things, but they were showing classic movies, and I went and saw like Jurassic Park, Wonder Woman, and Grease, I think. But yeah, the last movie like new release was Hunt. So.
Mine was Bloodshot, so that's not even.
Actually, I was going to see Bloodshot, but I had my cousin come in town, and we had a whole family thing. And then I heard like terrible things about it. I was like, hey, I'll take Hunt being the last movie that's on theaters.
Garbage.
Yeah. I don't have you. Thankfully, mine was the way back, so it was. I mean, still depressing, but a good movie. So going into the what good. No, we are not going to talk about that just yet. No way. How dare you? So going into the chat here again, what people are saying. So Kieran Douglas saying this deal is so short-sighted and seemed to just completely ignore long-term effects. I agree and disagree. I think that long-term, this is kind of going to be the norm, but it is short-sighted in the fact that, like, we're not at that stage yet, and they're sort of just like kind of pushing us there. I get what you're saying, but I feel like it was sort of inevitable, you know?
They do this all the time. It's like these unintended consequences that they just make decisions without, I don't know. So, stuff like that always happens all the time in the industry, but.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so, and a lot of people talking about how shitty the theaters in the US are, and I agree. They're dirty. They are dirty. That is not okay. But anyways, guys, so that's going to do it for the AMC and Universal portion of this show, the talk there. Let us know your thoughts and opinions on any of this madness down in the
I don't know what that was, but I was like, I was like, I'll just join in on it. Well, I don't know what she's doing, but I'll do it.
Oh man. Anyways, yes, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions and all that down in the comment section below, and all that good stuff. Okay, so moving into our the thumbnail topic of the day, we're talking about Dune. The first trailer for Dune is set to arrive in front of the Inception 10th anniversary screening. So this came out yesterday, I believe. And so the Inception 10th anniversary screening, which will be in theaters, is set to take place on August 12th. I believe it was internationally, and then the 28th domestically. I could be wrong on that, but these trailers are going to be dropping on August 12th. So, and basically, if you go see the Inception 10th anniversary screening, it'll feature the first trailer for Denis Villeneuve's highly anticipated Dune movie, a new trailer for Wonder Woman 1984, and of course, we're gonna get new footage from Tenet. Now, I know Kaleena is about ready to burst right now, full with excitement. So we will go to you first. Are you going to go see the Inception 10th anniversary screening? And is it just to see these trailers?
My pulse is racing, so I just learned all that in real time. Y'all just watched me hear that news. I don't know where to start. I have Inception posters in my house. Inception is the movie that gave me like the aha moment where I knew like irreversibly I am going to make movies for the rest of my life. And so that movie is held so near and dear to my heart. July 12th, 2010 is the first time that I saw it. So I had no idea they were doing an anniversary screening. That is so exciting to me. I will see it 500 times just to see Inception in theaters again. I've seen it.
Honestly, yeah.
I only got to see it once when it first came out because I was a little baby and I didn't have a driver's license yet. So I'd rely on other people to take me to the theater, and my dad would not take me again. And then when Interstellar came out, Alamo Drafthouse did like the Nolan retrospective. And so I got to see every movie that Nolan's ever made in theaters. That was amazing. I cried so much.
That's awesome.
And so I've only seen it those 2 times. So I will go see Inception for sure. But I had no idea that we were getting new trailers. Now, I am one of those people that I will probably only watch maybe 2 trailers for a movie, and then that's it. I hated what they started doing with the MCU, where there's like, here's 17 trailers before the movie.
Yeah,
and
I learned that the hard way with Infinity War, and then for Endgame, I didn't watch like any trailers.
Yeah,
and that's why I kind of prefer that movie, because Infinity War, I was like, oh, I got all the beat. Yeah, but go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, and then there's like 9 TV spots for it, and then God forbid if there's like the Super Bowl spot, and it's you get so much overexposure to the film, and then once you see it, you realize how many spoilers were in the trailer that now moving forward, you're just angry that they put those in there.
Yeah.
So I will be excited to see all those 3 trailers on the big screen, because I am one of those nerds that like, I get to the theater 30 minutes early and I want to see every trailer, and I don't like to eat or drink during the movie, and I'm like very serious and my phone's off. So I'll go for sure as many times as my schedule will allow me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm Colin. Are you going to go see the 10th anniversary screening?
Dude, I never saw Inception in theaters when it came out, dude. Of course I am. Like,
Oh man,
I'm so pumped. I saw it like on. Well, this is what I just never saw it, dude. I'm sorry.
She's dead.
I will say I'll try and make up for it. When I did see it the first time I saw it, I mean, it was like recent. Like it was like 2010 when I saw it. When I saw it twice in one day because I was so blown away. I think Inception and like American Beauty were like the first like favorite movies of all time for me. Like those are the 2 movies I saw and I was like, what? Like this is something I imagined. Like, and then it got into like 2013 with like The Wolf of Wall Street, Prisoners, and like Her or something, and I was like, oh my god, this is so for me. But I'm super pumped to see Inception first and foremost, and then we're gonna see a little bit of Tenet, and then you get into the Dune trailer, which I am so pumped for Dune. I don't know like much about it. I haven't read the book or anything like that. I didn't watch the 84 film. I know it tanked pretty bad, but I feel like this is a big opportunity. And I know, Griffin, I've had you on my live streams before, and we've talked about like how Denis has like kind of struggled a little bit to have that Nolan effect, where he has like these big blockbuster ambition, has that auteur flair to it with deep messages and themes to it, but his movies don't make as much money as Nolan's do, and they're not as accessible to audiences to where they're just a little bit more niche, I guess. And I feel like this is a great opportunity to bring something, you know, fresh off of, you know, the Rise of Skywalker, kind of Star Wars, that trilogy's capped off to an end. We don't have Lord of the Rings anymore. So kind of like a new big kind of epic fantasy film, I think is just kind of what we're looking for now. And I know people will say like, oh, 2049 didn't make a lot of money, so this is kind of being the same thing. I think the cast here and just the look of it, and I think marketing is the key, is like the number one thing for this movie. If it markets itself correctly to where people will, like, the average audience member will want to see it and not just like the nerds of the book or just fans of Denis. And dude, I'm so excited to see a trailer and just to see. I had no idea what the movie's about, but I'm so pumped. That's how you know like how good of a filmmaker Denis Villeneuve is, because I'm like super pumped. I have no idea what the movie's about.
Yeah, for sure.
I just want to interject and say two things. One, 2049 is God tier. That's irrefutable. And
Yeah.
you can
That's
tell
good.
me that there was going to be a new Oscar Isaac movie where he's just taking a shit for 2.5 hours. That's all.
Well, I mean, I love Timothee Chalamet too. That's kind of my boy, so he's gonna be in it. And then Zendaya, Euphoria. That's my girl.
No, Oscar Isaac's beard in that movie.
Honestly,
it's
impressive. Yeah, his beard alone is kind of mind blowing.
It's nice and thick for sure.
Yeah. Now listen, I am massive Villeneuve fan. Blade Runner 2049 didn't quite do it for me, but I still think it's an incredible movie. The thing is, like, I don't know if Warner Brothers. I know I'm blowing her mind right now. The thing is, it's like I don't know if Warner Brothers really wants to release Dune right now, which is already like Dune is already a massive gamble, just based on like how.
Yeah,
you know, it's like the subject matter and the type of film that it is and the type of story it's telling. You're already alienating like a good majority of the general movie going audience. So take that into account, then take into the account that we're in a global pandemic, then take into account that you have to get people who are already in this fear mindset of, oh, I don't want to go to the theaters. You have to try and get them to go to the theaters to see a movie that they may or may not want to go see or like might not connect with.
And the first Dune movie made like no money, made like $40 million or something.
Well, and didn't Denis announce that the movie that they've shot that they're going to release is kind of like Infinity War style, like it's part 1, and then he's filming the second half of the book or whatever. I think that's also going to be, that's a little testy with people. Some people don't like that.
Yeah. No, exactly. So it's like, okay, I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be phenomenal. Probably one of the best films of the year. There's no doubt about it. However, is it going to land with mainstream audiences? I have no idea. That's the big gamble.
That's the question. I think I don't even know if landing is the important question. I think it's getting people into the theater is the real question. It's like, are we going to be in a state where we can do that, like coronavirus wise? And then 2, does the marketing sell the movie to where people outside the nerds of the books and then us three, seeing the movie? So yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. So this trailer is coming out on August 12th. What does it have to do to really grab people? Kaleena, I'll start with you, but like what is your ideal first look at Dune, and what must it do to be a successful trailer?
So I'm not going to give you my answer. I'm going to give you like what I think from a marketing perspective should happen. I would say 50 to 70% of the audience that is possibly going to go see this movie is going to be going because of the names attached and not because they've read the book or they know what it's about. And this movie, from what I haven't read Dune, I want to, but from what I understand, the book is so complex and is even kind of hard to get into as a reader that I need to try to get it to make sense in a.
You need a dictionary to read it because they have. It has some lingo,
Try to make it make sense in a 2-minute and 20-second trailer, I think is going to be hard. And I don't think it's as important to advertise, this is the plot of the movie, now you can understand Dune. I think they show the gorgeous Denis visuals that we've all become accustomed to. If we see Timothee Chalamet and we see Oscar Isaac and we see that these names that people are looking forward to, and we understand like the gravity of this ensemble coming together, and if there's a heavy score and some swooshes and just people turning to the camera and mugging, then I think it'll be fine, and I think that will reel people in.
Yeah, for sure. Colin?
This is going to be a weird comparison, but Gone Girl was one of the best marketing campaigns I've ever seen. And what that movie did is it got you intrigued to see the movie, and it didn't give anything away. So I mean, I guess that's kind of my ideal. Like, oh, I want to see that in this trailer is something that shows the visuals, like you said. It shows I think just the visuals and the stars. I think the stars got to be at the forefront. And I don't know how action driven Dune is. I think it's a little bit more methodical in its approach. It's not.
Yeah,
exactly
it's not really. I mean, obviously there's action spectacle, but like I don't.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing. Is Denis going to play up that stuff a little bit more to try and reach that mainstream audience? You know.
Yeah, because I mean, like in something, some of his. I don't know. I mean, it's. I'd be interested to see. I mean, I think you definitely need an approach of a lot of show don't tell, but tell a little bit. It's a tricky game because you gotta have to like kind of check all those boxes where you have an idea what this movie's about a tad bit. But I think the stars are definitely it's at the forefront because I don't know, like Blade Runner 2049, as much as like Ryan Gosling and Han Solo, Harrison Ford are such big actors, like, and they're maybe even bigger than anybody on Dune. Combined, but there's so many of them on Dune, so just market like all of these people, and they kind of hit different demographics too. Like Timothee Chalamet and Zendaya definitely hit like the younger.
You're hitting the youngers, yeah.
And then moms have a thing for Jason Momoa. I mean, let's just face it. Like
that's true. Well, and Game of Thrones too.
Yeah. So, I mean, So I mean, I think the stars is kind of where it starts. But I mean, as far as what I want to see, man, I don't really care, man. I don't really have a preference. I mean, if the trailer's awful, I'll be the first to tell you that. But I doubt it's going to be. I'm sure it'll be fine. But I mean, any approach, I'm sure, for me is going to work. I think it's just the people that are questioning if they're going to see the movie or not. It's the real question. Because I don't really care how they do it because I'm going to see it anyway, is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think you guys are both right with where we're showcasing the cast is key, and not just like individual, not just like, oh look, it's Oscar Isaac. No, you got to show everyone, because that's how you get people to understand. Oh, this is an ensemble film with a whole bunch of familiar faces, and then you got to showcase the world. You really got to lean heavily into the world building, the legacy of Dune, based off of like I'll say this, kind of what they did with Watchmen, where it was like, when I saw those initial trailers for Watchmen, I was really young, so I hadn't read the graphic novel yet. But I was watching this, and I was like seeing like Billy Crudup go into this like chamber and then get electrocuted and turn into like Dr. Manhattan. And I was like, all right, you've already hooked me just based on curiosity alone. So if Dune can do something to the same effect that Warner Brothers did with Watchmen, but obviously Watchmen is way more like R-rated and niche than I think probably Dune. So it's like you're already faring better there, because I'm assuming it'll be PG-13. So if you can do something like that, I think you'll win a lot of people over. Still, it's just the concept alone has to be enough to interest people, and I think the images sparked interest, but that's only in our film circles. I'm curious how much of that was really sparked in, general audiences and stuff.
It's tough to say when we're all in our own little bubble and film Twitter and stuff. Everyone's freaking out about Dune. You're like, oh, it's going to make $1 billion. Everyone, all the, 4,000 people part of this community, like on film Twitter, it's like, I don't know.
Oh, I know. It can be a real bubble sometime, but okay. So any final thoughts? Well, actually we didn't talk about this, but so they're going to be showing some new footage for Tenet. And then they're also going to be showing a new trailer for Wonder Woman 1984. So actually, Kaleena, let's start with you first. What do you want to see out of the new Wonder Woman trailer?
More of Chris Pine in a windbreaker, and that's all.
Dude, yeah, I that's me too. Honestly, good looking guy right there. No,
I'm very excited. I love Wonder Woman. Just generally, I think it's a really great film. I think it's a great superhero film. I think it's a great DC film. And then obviously, as a female filmmaker, I'm a huge proprietor for what they did, what Patty and Gal and the whole team did. So I'm very excited they're getting a sequel. This is going to like piss off so many of your viewers, but I am a person who watches superhero movies. I don't read the comics. So when I'm watching the movie, I'm watching it as a movie. I'm not watching it as like, did they honor the character and did they take the story? And that's just my deal, you know? So I'm curious to see how they're going to bring Chris back. I am like the world's biggest Saturday Night Live fan, so I'm super excited to see Kristen Wiig in this.
Yeah.
She's actually very capable of
Yeah.
doing serious acting, and I think she could be good if the character is a right fit. And so she's playing Cheetah or someone.
Yeah, Cheetah. Yeah.
I
Which-
think because I have. Go ahead.
Did you see? Well, I was gonna say, did you see the concept art of what she's gonna look like as Cheetah?
Cool.
That's. I really hope that translates well. Yeah.
So I have the privilege of not knowing that character, so I'm not married to a portrayal of it, and so I think that will allow me to be open and then therefore like objectively critical, either good or bad, of her performance in it. I also love Pedro Pascal, and so I'm excited for this cast. I'm excited to see what I hope is like a visual comparison to Thor Ragnarok. I just hope it's really colorful and bright and has a lot going on. So in a second trailer, I would like to, honestly, kind of what we're saying with Dune, like see a bit more of the world and see a bit more of the cast, because I think the first trailer was kind of vague, like here's Diana, here's that Maul from Stranger Things, and here's her with her lasso, and here's Chris Pine, just so you guys know that we brought him back, and not much else in that trailer. Well, except she has the golden wing.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of that shit is, but I'm excited to learn.
No, for sure. Colin, before I go to you, I do want to say that I agree with. Well, I think for a second trailer, I think for me at least, I want to get just a little bit more of what the story's about without giving too much away. I think I agree with you. First trailer was great. It was vague. It showed the world a little bit. It showed where the characters are at now in the 80s, and it teased enough of the plot to interest you. But I think I just want to know a little bit more about what's going on here. But yeah, anyways, Colin, what do you want to see?
Yeah, dude, I had an epiphany this year. I always enjoyed Wonder Woman. Like, I actually really dug it when I saw it like a couple times in theaters. I don't know what happened the last time I watched this. I watched it on a re-release thing, and when they were doing it at a local theater of mine, and it just skyrocketed to one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. I
really
love it.
It's so good. Yeah, I get it.
I even like the third act that gets crap, I think is it still has an emotional punch to it, with obviously in lieu of what happens, and this is where, and I don't want to compare movies, but like this is kind of why I think Wonder Woman worked and Captain Marvel kind of did. I don't hate Captain Marvel or anything. Is there was some fish out of water stuff that they were trying to go for in Captain Marvel 2, but they played it so serious. Whereas like I loved like the aloofness of Wonder Woman's character, where it almost came off kind of cute in the beginning without like degrading her character, making her weak or anything. They just Patty Jenkins would just she had pulled off so many amazing things in that. And then we're not even talking about the action, which was that beach scene in the beginning is one of the most beautifully done action scenes I've ever seen. And I fell in love with the movie. I actually did a top 10 favorite comic book movies on my channel, and it made the list, which I don't think it would have before if I didn't see the re-release of it. So I was really happy about that. But as far as Wonder Woman 84, I think it even looks better, like you said, Kaleena, like Thor Ragnarok kind of style, which that's Griffin's favorite MCU movie. Really excited, really love Thor Ragnarok. But I am super pumped. And what's the name? She's on Saturday Night Live. You mentioned her name, right?
Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig. Yeah, I like her addition to it as well. And then just the vibes of it all. Love Chris Pine as well playing the role. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, it should be fun, and I hope all I want is this trailer to just get us excited for it, and hopefully we can see it when it hits theaters in October. So yes, basically go see the Inception 10th anniversary screening for multiple reasons. Obviously, if you can or if you think it's safe, that's the big question for me. Is it really safe to go here in one of the central hubs for this pandemic and whatnot? So we'll see. Hopefully they're doing it at drive-ins. But anyways, guys, let us know your thoughts and opinions on the upcoming new Dune trailer, the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer, the Inception 10th anniversary, all that stuff. Let us know in the comments section below. All right. So moving on to the next topic here, I think we're going to do some movie reviews now. We're going to talk about some films. So we're going to, Kaleena and I, Colin, I'm going to remove you from the stream real quick. But
man.
I got to give you the boot. No, so Kaleena and I are going to talk about two films. She Dies Tomorrow, and Calm with Horses or The Shadow of Violence, and then I'll bring you back in and we'll talk about Yes God Yes for a little bit. So we will say goodbye to Colin momentarily. All right. So now that he's gone, this is great. No, I'm just kidding. So okay, what do you want to talk about? You want to do She Dies Tomorrow, or do you want to do Calm with? Okay, cool. So She Dies Tomorrow is a new film. Yeah, well, actually, before we even talk about that, you got a chance to interview Amy Seimetz and some of the cast for the film. So I wonder, do you just want to talk about that experience for a little bit?
Yeah, so it was basically I had kind of started doing a little bit of like entertainment journalism for my school newspaper, and so I'd already kind of started the process of doing interviews with actors and directors. And then right as I felt like I was making progress, everything started kind of hitting the fan. I was actually set to interview in person Kumail Nanjiani for The Lovebirds.
I know
that the shutdown happened. So I was a little bitter for a while, you know, like, fuck it, I'm not doing interviews anymore.
Yeah.
Can I say fuck on the show?
No, yeah, you can say fuck. I don't care.
I have a terrible potty mouth.
It's okay.
So I really like doing it. And then you kind of presented me with like this great opportunity to get involved with the cast. So I got to interview Kate and Jane, the two stars. And then of course I got to interview Amy, the director. And I had really great conversations with them. I won't go like too much into it before we go into our review, but I had Dune kind of shared with you like some concerns I had about the film going into the interviews. And so I chose to sleep on it and write up my questions in the morning. Yeah. And I felt good for doing that. I felt like I had a lot more to say about the film in the morning. And then the kind of privilege that people like you and I have about getting to interview people is then we kind of get our thoughts on the films validated by the people who made them.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. Yeah,
we're like at a slight advantage. And so there were definitely some thoughts that I had that I got to address with them directly. And it made me overall feel a little bit better about the movie. But I believe that we're about to segue to the fact that neither of us really care for it overall.
Yeah. Okay. So yes. So if you were watching this, you have no idea what She Dies Tomorrow is. She Dies Tomorrow is the latest film from Neon. It was a big hit at the Sundance Film Festival, which I was a bit surprised by, but you know, it's directed by Amy Seimetz. It's written by Amy Seimetz. She's a phenomenal talent, and I think the film that she wanted to make, she definitely made here, but it stars Caitlin Schell, Jane Addams, and I think Chris Mezzalina is in here. Mezzalina. I can't say. Forgive me. Yes, basically.
Chris's.
Yes, and what was Victor Zsasz from Birds of Prey? He was also in here. So basically, very, very basic and easy premise. It follows Amy, who thinks that she's dying tomorrow, and basically her fear of dying tomorrow and her belief that she is becomes contagious, and everyone around her, or who even has a loose connection or like a third degree connection to her, starts to think that they're dying tomorrow. And so it's kind of like a very, existential movie about, and weirdly enough, apt to the times that we're currently living in. I just can't say that it really worked for me. But Kaleena, I want to start with you. What were your overall thoughts on the film? Just go into it. Yeah.
At first I was really impressed because it definitely has, and I don't mean to compare filmmakers to other filmmakers, but to kind of give people like a visual perspective. It had like an aesthetic of like a Safdie brothers movie or a Nicholas Winding Refn movie, with the neon tones and like really darks and like really bright kind of light contrasts. Yeah. And I don't know, you can kind of tell right away whether a movie's going to be like visceral and cerebral or if it's going to be really dialogue heavy. And so I was kind of into that at first. I was like, okay, this is a mood film, you know? And then after that, it just kind of derailed from the potential that I thought it had. I don't mind a lack of exposition. We've talked before, an amazing Sam Mendes quote that I got to hear in person was, he said, exposition is the death of storytelling. And I love that. I just think that's such a ballsy thing to say as a filmmaker. And so exposition is definitely provided to the audience through like physical characterization. It's through movement and through like flashbacks and little things, which is fine. But the problem is there's never anything that occurs to any of the characters that makes me think, why should I care whether they do or don't die tomorrow? why should I care about anything that's happened in their past that is making them, have these thoughts? There's not even enough to give me intrigue to really wonder what is causing this. Is this some, airborne virus? Is it all in their heads? Are they all crazy? You know what I mean? Like there were so many questions that were posed and no needle threading to bring them together or to provide answers. And then it's just kind of over, and you don't even really know what happens to any of the characters by the time the movie's over. And without diving into spoilers, that scene with Michelle Rodriguez was so off-putting to me.
It was very weird, yeah.
And in my opinion, had no business being in that movie. By the time it was over, I was like, what was I to make of that? If I wasn't to have a logical ABC narrative structure to take away from, then what I have left is the feelings I'm sitting in, right? So then that's what I feel. I didn't really feel anything. I was just like, okay, that was a movie and the movie's over, and then tomorrow I'm going to talk about the movie with people who were in the movie,
Yeah, exactly. No, I get what you're saying, because it's like it is a movie that's almost like a snapshot of what's going on inside Amy Simons' head. She's obviously been very vocal about how she deals with a lot of anxiety, and I think that is so apparent in this film, in the way that she goes back and forth between the character of Amy, just living in these really like grandiose, super dramatic, like flashing neon lights moments, and then she'll just do a jump cut to what's actually happening, and it's just like Amy sitting there shopping for leather bags or something like that. And so it's like when she's doing that and she's like actually kind of like exploring anxiety and what it's like to live with that, and like how it kind of like amplifies these mundane and really like depressing situations that people find themselves in. It's great. Like it actually succeeds, and I think some of that lends to the dark comedy of it, but I don't think it really goes much further than that. It's a really repetitive film, and it's like after you've seen the first like I don't know, like 15 minutes or so, you get the gist of what this movie is. And it's basically people going through the same things that Amy is going through. But I will say, I think it is an interesting, kind of to interpret it in today's climate where, basically the way fear spreads, and people reflecting on their lives. And basically it's like, okay, if today is our last day, fuck it, the filter's off. We're just going to live it like we're going to, but it's not in a really like flashy or, we're going to go drink and do a bunch of drugs. It's just more like, I'm just going to bluntly tell you that I don't want to be in this relationship anymore, and it probably should have ended 6 months ago. And so it's like stuff like very real and relatable things like that really causes you to kind of ponder the situation that we're in. But yeah, again, it's like I don't think there was enough substance there to sort of back up her thesis of what she was trying to say. I think this would have made an excellent short film. Really, like it has short film written all over it. And I think that had they just focused on Amy and maybe Jane and it just made it self-contained between those two and like their interactions, and made it like 15 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes, like this, it would have been perfect.
We don't learn anything about Jane. We don't know anything about her. And I feel like the movie was so erotic.
Yeah, right?
And no explanation. It goes nowhere. Like there was a point where I was like, is Jane fucking Chris Messina?
I know. I had no idea.
I for sure thought that they had like a weird incestuous brother and sister relationship. And then again, just doesn't ever go anywhere.
No, I completely agree with you. Yeah, that's the thing. There's like a weird conversation about like how like sexual dolphins are, and I'm like, like what, like why, like this is. I mean, I get it's supposed to be funny and awkward and whatnot, and I get it. I know that's what she was going for, but I can't say it really worked for me at all. So to kind of wrap this,
no porpoise.
Damn it. All right. There you go. Okay. Anyways, Kaleena, what are your final thoughts on She Dies Tomorrow? And what would you give it out of 10?
Oh God, a 6. If I was being generous, I think a 6.
That is generous, because I don't think I would go that high.
it's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
No, it's
if you see the trailer and it interests you, watch it, because Amy, I think, is a good storyteller and a good filmmaker, and I think we should be giving our money to the arts. So if you like the trailer and it interests you, go watch it.
Yeah, for sure. Here's the thing. I think that it will be a movie for some people. I am just not one of those people. I mean, I really liked how she sort of like she conveyed anxiety and paranoia and existentialism, and like used like these great neon visuals and like sound cues to really back that up and amplify like the feelings she wanted to try and create. It's a really like just emotions first movie, but it reaches a point where it doesn't go past that. And so it's like, I can say there's real craftsmanship behind it, but I gotta admit, I got bored after a while and I was like, okay, all right, I get it. And I kind of want to turn this off. So, listen, I think that Amy does have real promise though in the industry. Obviously she's a capable director and artist. And so, yeah, this one just didn't work for me. So I think I'd probably go 4.5 out of 10 is where I'd kind of go with it.
I was being generous. Then that's where 6 came in. Otherwise, I'd probably be inclined to agree with you.
Yeah, for sure. But listen, guys, if you have seen She Dies Tomorrow, the new Neon film, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions on the movie down in the comments section below. And if you haven't seen it, are you interested in seeing it? Less interested in seeing it? And then also, what is your favorite sort of like existential horror movie or something like that? Because this movie is, they've been pitching it as like a horror film, but I don't get the horror in it. Maybe it's the horror of the world we live in. I have no idea. But anyways, we want to hear all about it down in the comments section below. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on and we're going to be talking about Calm with Horses, or The Shadow of Violence as it's known in the US. And I am so, oh my God, I am so thrilled to talk about it. No joke, might actually be my favorite film of the year. Not even kidding. Like, I was fucking floored by this movie. So basically, The Shadow of Violence, or Calm with Horses, is directed by Nick Rowland. It's written by Joe Murtaugh, and it follows Douglas Armstrong, who he's become this feared enforcer for the drug-dealing Devers family, whilst also trying to be a good father. And torn between these two families, Arm's loyalties are tested when he is asked to kill for the first time. Yeah, this is an exceptional movie starring Cosmo Jarvis, Barry Keoghan, and I forget the actress's name, who plays his wife, but she was also incredible in it. Kaleena, I need to get your take on this because I've been sitting here with my thoughts, wanting to talk to someone about it. What did you think of Calm with Horses?
I loved it. So I guess I should first say that like gangster mob movies are my favorite type of movies. Goodfellas, my favorite movie of all time. Pulp Fiction, which isn't quite a gangster film, but gets close enough to the feeling of it. I love like family problems and I love violence in movies, and I don't know what that says about me, but that's the kind of shit I like to watch. So I was super excited for this. And then I was blown away. This is, I guess, maybe kind of pretentious to say, but like the sheer artistry of
yes.
The coloring of the film, the cinematography might be the best I've seen this year, maybe in last year, shot so beautifully, no fat on this film at all. Thing flies by. It is a tight hour 45 or something.
It is. It's like not even 2 hours. There's
so much emotion in it and so much story, and I feel like you learn exactly enough about all of the characters that at no point was I like, well, what are their motivations, or why are they doing this, or how did this happen? And especially that, I would say like those first 7 minutes where they're kind of like, all right, here's my situation. Here's the family. They're drunk. We're, Irish, whatever.
Yeah.
It was incredible. The lead actor, what'd you say his name was?
Cosmo Jarvis.
Oh my God. Amazing. I don't know if I've seen him in anything, and I just
he was actually a YouTuber and a musician. Like, yeah, it's so weird, right? Yeah, oh my God, fucking phenomenal. Like, he needs to be in the awards conversation this year for that performance.
Incredible. Like so just from knowing me that my favorite kind of like performance is like the strong silent type, right? Like just kind of sitting with his head down, but he has like so much emotional baggage, and that's why Gosling in Drive is like one of my favorites ever, because it's my favorite kind of performance to hone into. And as a performer, it's the meatiest and like one of the best kind of playgrounds you can have as an actor. And he not only locked into that, but he was so in tune with like the emotional, like that separated part of his identity as Armstrong. And that scene on the phone at the end, Griff.
I was about to say the one take monologue at the end is
one take
fucking phenomenal. It's so good. Yeah. A single shot at the end where it's just like it's going in on his face.
Yeah. I thought single shot, or he only did one take?
No, well, I mean, I assume he only did it in one take because it was one shot. I mean, they may have stitched something together, but like, I know exactly what you're talking about. The monologue at the end is fucking phenomenal. Yeah. Okay. Look, this movie is really a character study about a guy who's just like, you know, stuck between these two worlds, and like he really doesn't have a place. He doesn't like have a sense of belonging, and he's like, you know, every time one side of the family, if the crime family burns him or he feels kind of weird about it, he turns to the domestic life, and he gets a little bit of he finds some optimism there. But then, like, you know, his son who suffers with a mental illness starts to be a little too much for him to handle. And so it's like he doesn't know what to do. And so he drops him off, and then he goes back to the crime family. And so it's this guy basically on the brink of having a mental breakdown the entire time. And Cosmo Jarvis is fucking phenomenal. I agree with you. It's so nuanced. It's very internal, but like it's so raw and real. And like, I feel like he was just a real person.
Yes.
You know, like I could totally empathize with what he was feeling. And I know like the sort of like, you know, bad father trope has been done to death, but like in this one, I don't know, it felt so, it's like he's making all these poor decisions, but it's like I still sympathize with him because he's just being used as this weapon for this Irish crime family. And it's tough. So yeah, I mean, Cosmo Jarvis is someone that we all need to be on the lookout for, and then also he is someone that needs to be in the awards conversation this fall, if it even happens. His performance is that good, and weirdly enough, I mean, this movie did premiere last year at TIFF. I didn't get a chance to see it, but it premiered last year at TIFF. It already opened in the UK and Ireland and stuff like that, and so it's like it's already gotten a fair amount of buzz from like, you know, people in those circles, but I don't know many people who know about this movie here in the States. And the biggest thing that I could say is just, I implore each and every one of you to seek this movie out, because it's, you know, Nick Rowland, who directed the film, directorial debut, mind-blowing. You never know it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he takes a genre and a story that's been done time and time again, but he puts a new spin on it. It's real salt of the earth, dark, gritty, grimy. It's through and through Irish, which I loved. And I think what he does is what separates it from other movies of that nature is he cuts out all the excess noise, all the glamour of being in the mob, all of like the you know, it's less about what they're doing and like the antics that they're doing and or the hits that they're doing or the crimes they're committing, and more about the implications it has on these people and the emotions they're feeling. And I think by honing in on this, it's able to stand apart from other movies in this genre, and I think is why it's one of the best ones that I've seen in the crime genre in quite some time.
Yeah, even the like gratuitous "we're all gonna snort cocaine" scene that's in there, like it doesn't.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, look at all of our money and our cocaine, and you know, like it's sad. Like you're like, oh shit, they're like,
oh yeah,
addicts, and this is really, and this is how this family is bonding. That they're sitting in this dark room doing lines of coke together. I had no idea that was his directorial debut. That is one of those, and I felt that way. Sometimes a movie hits you or a performance hits you and it makes you want to like punch yourself in the face because you just can't fathom that someone created something that good and that the final product was that good. And so knowing what you just told me is like I'm suffering and struggling.
It's
so the feelings I already had about it. But yeah, this movie came out of nowhere for me. Like I saw it was such a top grade. Like if this had like Fincher's name on it, you know, or like some recognizable name where I would be like, oh yeah, of course he did something that great. It would make sense to
Yeah.
me. But I feel like this movie came out of nowhere and it's coming out the gates this high on the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So good.
No, I couldn't agree more. Listen, we could sit here and gush about it all day long, but listen, what are your final thoughts on Calm with Horses, and what would you give it out of 10?
I would give it a 10. I would say this is my first.
Fuck, really? 10 out of 10. Wow.
I wish right now, like maybe I would have to watch it again, but I can't think of a problem with it. I can't think of a story problem, a script problem. It's not too long. There's no fat on it. All the performances were good. The emotion was there. I don't have a reason to give it less than a 10 right now. Final thoughts are, please find this film and stream it and watch it, because if you guys do that, that will show, you know, the studio and the people behind it that we want to see more from that filmmaker, and we should see more from that filmmaker.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, look, it's bleak, it's gripping, it's gritty, and it's a crime drama. So you've already got me in there. And it's really moody. Super atmospheric and moody without being like over it. It's brooding. Yeah, it's great. It really places you inside the mind of Douglas or Arm, the main character. And my God, it has one hell of a score. It's got one hell of a score by Blank Mass, who's an electronic artist who did it. And he's worthy of being in the best original score conversation as well. But it's, you know, Cosmo Jarvis gives one of the best performances of the year. Nick Rowland really just arrives onto the scene here as a major talent, directing with such confidence and artistry. Look, it's a dark and poignant movie, gorgeous cinematography. I really cannot recommend this film enough. It floored me. It really floored me. So go seek it out if you haven't, you know, heard of it or don't know what we're talking about. It's called The Shadow of Violence, or Calm with Horses on. If you're in the UK or something like that. And out of 10, I think I'd go a little lower than you, probably just 9.5. And the only reason I don't go straight 10 is just because like it is like it's not doing anything new per se, but it tackles a familiar sort of story just with, you know, a new lens or just a fresh perspective. So I really appreciated that. So guys, go see this film, and if you haven't seen the film, you know, I don't know, I just you got to go seek it. But if you have seen Calm with Horses or Shadow of Violence, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you, and then also, what is your favorite crime drama? We'd love to hear about that down there as well. All right,
Gotti.
Yeah, Gotti. That is, yeah, Gotti. Yeah. All right, guys. So we are going to add Colin back to the stream. Sorry, Colin. I know that was a little bit, but hopefully we gave you.
Hey,
yeah.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going? Anyways,
I missed you guys so much.
I know. It was fun though. Listen, just go check out The Shadow of Violence, please. Please go see it. Please.
I heard everything you guys said on it. I think it comes out wide release on July 31st. 100% gonna watch it now. Never even heard of it. Goodfellas you mentioned. I heard Pulp Fiction mentioned, so I just like those. I like those comparisons. I'm kind of feeling a little warm and fuzzy thinking about it, but
yeah,
no, for real. Like I'm like that's a day one. Soon, is it VOD or is it?
Yeah, it should be on VOD this Friday, or it's going to theaters this Friday and will be on VOD soon. But yeah, seriously, can't recommend it enough.
I will be watching it, and hopefully it's my favorite movie of the year, like you guys.
Yeah, we'll see. But we will be talking about one of your favorite movies of the year now, and that is Yes, God, Yes. So Yes, God, Yes is the I guess it's the feature directorial debut of Karen Maine. Also written by Karen Maine. It stars Natalia Dyer, Wolfgang Novogratz, Alicia Bowe, and it tells the story of a Catholic girl who finds herself having tempting thoughts after an AOL chat turns unexpectedly racy. So, yeah, I know. little saucy there. Colin, we're gonna start with you because I know you had very strong opinions about this. After you saw the film, you immediately texted me and you're like, dude, wow, very impressed. So what did you think of Yes, God, Yes?
Yeah, no, I knew nothing about it. All I knew is it had Natalia Dyer in it from Stranger Things, and I heard some things from my buddy Zach Pope,
Yeah.
talking, saying like, don't fail this film, watch it and stuff. So I was looking forward to checking out without knowing any of the context or anything like that. So it's kind of just like part of this journey, and I really, really dug it. I think one of the biggest things that I have to credit this movie for was the visual jokes, which I really just appreciate in movies. One of my favorite movies of all time is Election. That's like one of my favorite comedies, and like one of the best parts about that movie is there's just visual joke after visual joke after visual joke, and it's just so hilariously written. And that's what this was. And just like things would happen in it, and we know the subject matter is about a girl coming to terms with sexuality, and she's going to a very religious school and goes to like a retreat thing and stuff. So like and I was picking up on things because I was so locked into the movie because it sucks you in, and like things when you hear like the phone vibrating, you're like, uh-oh, I know I know where this is going. And so when the phone started vibrating, I was just like, oh my, I just started like dying laughing. I was like, this is genius. This is literally genius.
Yeah.
And I can't like say it's like the best of the year, only because I guess I don't know. I mean, it's doing something new, but I think when plot wise, maybe for some people it'll be a little underwhelming, and I think that's a fair criticism. It's plot wise, really not much happens. It's kind of just meanders its way through a very specific point in this young woman's life. But I thought all the performances were good, and I think it had to walk a very tight balance of questioning the hypocrisy of religious institutions like this, while not making fun of it completely, because then you're going to alienate a lot of your audiences. And it does make fun of it, but a lot of the people in the school and stuff, like the one jock kid, the main guy there, I forget his name.
Discount.
He was, he was.
Wait, what did you say? Wait, what did you say? Discount.
Chris.
Discount Chris.
Yeah.
He had the hairy arms. That's all I know.
Yeah,
about
that was so funny.
But he was portrayed as like a nice guy. So they did some things to where they're questioning the hypocrisy of it, but not full on just saying like I hate Christianity or whatever, or hate religious stuff. Yeah. And I mean, we've seen movies like this before, certainly, but I thought the performances were all great. I thought it was hilarious than it ever deserved to be, honestly. Like I was just dying laughing than I ever thought I could be, and I was really, really impressed. Even though it's not doing much plot wise, I think its ambition and what it goes for, it pretty much nails it flawlessly, I would say, just for what exactly it's going for.
Yeah, for sure. Kaleena?
Do you want to go next? Because I have a lot of differing thoughts on it.
No, that's fine. Well, actually, I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts, because I originally saw this back in 2019 at South by Southwest when it premiered, and the perk of getting to see it at a festival is you get to see the film, and then you get to see the filmmaker come out and sort of discuss it. And so it's like hearing her talk about her experience growing up in a small Midwestern town, being Catholic and being torn between being like, having these sexual urges, and then also like, what she's being told by the people in the church that she follows, and wanting to be like a good Catholic and whatnot. So it's, I don't know. I think it's a very relatable film, at least for a lot of people, especially to young women out there growing up in a similar town, who are also very religious, maybe not Catholic, but are in some sort of situation. And so it's like, I think it's a perfect movie to really come out. And what I liked about it was that it was a different take on the coming of age story. I mean, it showed us something that we very rarely ever see. And I think Natalia Dyer does such an excellent job of just like, she's very quiet, she's very innocent, but she'll like just, I don't know, she has these looks. Her reactions are
perfect. Are perfect. Yeah. And I will say, the only thing I wish this movie wasn't rated R, because I feel like the people that need to see this movie can't. Like, I feel like I think it's the language, but I feel like 16, 17-year-old girls, I guess 17-year-olds can watch it, but I think like that age range, I think would would really benefit from watching this movie, and it delivers a decent message, it dares to say some cool stuff,
Yeah, well, exactly, to like be able to connect with that. No, I agree. I think Karen Main on Twitter, she said that it's rated R because the what is the MPAA, they treat female sexuality different than they do male sex, which is so dumb. Because you're right, it is not an R-rated movie. It is not that kind of film. So, but yeah, I agree. I loved how they tackled the hypocrisy of these institutions, and like saying how like, oh, everyone's going through the same thing that you are, whether they let on or not. So, but yeah, no, I thoroughly, really cute, really relatable. Loved the early 2000s setting. That took me back. That took me back. It was
the message boards and stuff, and
the message boards.
And there was a couple, the very first, and they did some cool foreshadowing, because there's a moment where she doesn't log off the computer, she just shuts it off. And my first initial thought, I was like, you have to log off. Like, you got to know your stuff if you're doing dirty stuff on a computer, man. You gotta get off there. You gotta clear the history, man. You gotta pretty much delete your freaking account at that point if you don't want to get caught. But she just turned it off, and then it comes to bite her later on. You're like, oh, okay. There was some foreshadowing there. I don't think, gotta give her credit there.
That was a nice little tidbit. Yeah, but Kaleena, yes, I'm actually very curious to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah. So I'm kind of down the middle. I literally wrote down my thoughts because I don't want to forget them. So first of all, you're gonna hate me for this, but the first thing I thought of when I started watching this movie was that fake trailer from Tropic Thunder with Robert Downey Jr. This is me. I'm like, it's like that movie.
This is Satan's Alley, folks. This is Satan's Alley. Oh man. Yes. Okay.
So I thought of that. Yes, I do want to compliment Natalia on her up here acting.
Yes, the eyes.
Yes. I feel like her eyelashes were a big part of that. But yeah, her character really does not have a lot of dialogue. She's not very vocal, and so a lot of her performance required on her actions and her reactions, which is like the basis of, it's like acting 101. So yeah, she was really great in it. I just generally hate coming of age movies. I don't know why. I just get grossed out when I hear 16-year-olds being like, oh, the boy I like won't text me back and it's ruining my life. And it just so fucking old. And I think the only coming of age movie that I can think
of. The Perks of Being Wallflower. The Perks of Being Wallflower. The Perks of Being
Wallflower. Trash. What? Garbage. Watson is garbage. Logan Lerman is a pussy. Fucking the
god
who beats women. Ezra Miller, whatever.
God.
Fuck that writer.
That's fuck the top 10 all time. That made me want to be. Paul Rudd made me want to be a teacher. Fun fact. Paul Rudd made me want to be a teacher.
Anything that Paul Rudd makes you want to do is correct, but everything else.
Okay.
I agree there. But anyway, go ahead.
I think Ferris Bueller's Day Off and then The Edge of 17, which I just watched like a month ago. I think those are maybe the only two coming of age movies that I like. And even Edge of 17, I don't see a reason why I would ever watch that movie again. Now, Ferris Bueller is classic, especially living in Chicago. It's like, it's the best. But so I automatically had a little bit of a hard time connecting to this movie just because I don't care about teenage problems. I will never care about teenage problems.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dazed and Confused, not a fan of Dazed and Confused either?
That's a little different because it's not so much like these are our problems.
It's the day in the life of them. Yeah.
So that one's and that's just fun, that one's a lot more fun.
Okay, I'm not mad anymore.
PTSD from being a Sunday school teacher for 7 years and like growing up in churches. I was like, oh no, I removed all this from my brain and now it's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
It can be kind of hard to watch because religions can be kind of culty, and that's how this movie felt. It was like, oh my god, this poor girl needs to learn about her vagina and Jesus won't let her, and that's sad. I was baptized as a Catholic, and I come from a huge Italian family, and so I had to like kind of actively work to like squirm my way out of Catholicism growing up, and so just imagining like being at this school where you have to take classes on morality and that a penis is equivalent to a microwave and a vagina is equivalent to a convection oven. It was just like, holy shit, man. It was it was a lot, but I appreciate that it exists because like you're saying with the MPAA, like women's sexuality should not be treated differently. It is something that is equally as prevalent in our formative years. It's something that we think about. Girls watch porn too. Like it's not this crazy taboo subject. It's like I'm allowed to show my ankles in public. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's not something anymore. So I think it's cute for what it is.
I was gonna say the one performance I want to shout out here. Obviously, Natalia Dyer is great. The I guess main priest teacher guy that's kind of like the one with the beard, tall guy. I forget his name as an actor. He was good, but also he's in a show called Looking for Alaska on Hulu, which is a miniseries. And if you guys haven't seen that show, he also plays like a camp counselor kind of, but it's not like a religious institution. So I think they typecasted him as a very niche, like camp counselor kind of guy, like mentor to kids, and he's great in that as well. So if you guys haven't seen that, it's excellent. But yeah, so I dug it. I dug the movie a lot.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's actually the perfect way to put it. Is it's cute. I mean, like, yeah, if you're into the whole coming of age thing, then like I think you'll definitely enjoy it. The most people, it's not like I don't know. I feel like it achieved what it set out to do. It's not trying to do anything grand. It's not trying to make multiple statements on what it means to be a teenager. It's telling a specific experience that Karen Maine felt, and it's absolutely delightful. So funny. A lot of great constructed humor in the edit. You know, like I really, really appreciated that. And the soundtrack is phenomenal.
The soundtrack's greit now, and the score. But the ending I really enjoyed too. And like I said, I think the visual jokes is where this just really worked. I really dug. There's like, I mean, the particular sequence where she's mopping in the kitchen and she sees something. Oh my god, dude! It just took you on twists and turns, and it just was so. Yeah. It wasn't so like it wasn't building to it. It was just it just happened. And you're like, in certain instances it kind of did remind me of Election, which and with the visual jokes and that movie is one of my favorites. So yeah, man, I really dug it.
I do also have to say that like the focus on poor man Chris Klein's arm hair is like definitely a real thing, because I'm into like big burly hairy dudes, not like
it was a little much. It was a little much.
Yeah, like ruffle chest hair scares the shit out of me. But
no, that hair was
hotter. But that's the thing, that like when you see a strong man arm and it's like a little fuzzy, you kind of just want to be like, oh, can I just when
she trips, I was like, oh my god.
So the funny thing about the arm hair in this is that it was actually prosthetic arm hair. That is not his actual arm hair. They glued it on his arm.
Oh, did they?
It's I just listen to them talk about. Yeah, the behind the scenes thing is so funny. But anyways, guys,
it's short too. It's short.
Yeah, it's short. It's very short.
It's a easy watch. My interview now. Just like 30 minutes on the arm hair.
Do it, please do. Yeah, hopefully we can get that conversation with Karen Maine happening. But anyways, guys, very very brief final thoughts, and then what would you give it out of 10? Colin, starting with you.
Yeah, I mean, really dug it. Cool, interesting coming of age movie. I thought it was really funny and well written, and it executed exactly what it was striving to, even though it doesn't really do anything plot wise, but it's fine. I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10 is where I'd go with it.
For sure. Kaleena?
I would give it a cushy 7. I agree with the sentiments, and I think that the cast is really, really well equipped for this movie. I think even smaller performances have standout moments that I think are due to the capable actors that were hired for it. So I think it's cute, and you should check it out.
Yeah, for sure. I will echo basically everything these two have said, and I'm also going to go 7 out of 10. It's one of the more enjoyable coming of age stories that I've seen as of late, and it does something different, which is with all these coming of age stories, it's like they all sort of tackle the same sort of things, just like with more style, less style, whatever. This is actually different, and I think you guys should definitely go check it out. It's available on VOD now. I can't recommend it enough. But guys, if you've seen Yes God Yes, let us know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. And then also let us know what your favorite coming of age film is down there as well. All right. So we're going to move on to the final topic of today. I had a couple of news items that I wanted to touch on, but we just spent so much time talking about movies that maybe it's time for some good old fashioned debate. So basically, I came across this thread, or not this this tweet on Twitter, and actually I'm going to try and pull it up here about Christopher Nolan being a cold storyteller, and it's something that I don't necessarily agree with, but I think it makes for an interesting conversation because I've seen this criticism of Nolan a lot. and like I don't think it's fair, but I think a lot of people tend to gravitate towards it because they're like, oh well, he's all flash, he's not all like emotions and characters, and I could not disagree more with that. So the tweet that I'm referring to, and I don't want to put this person's name on there because it's their opinion, they're welcome to it. I don't want to like do anything to draw attention to them, but basically they said that Nolan's best movie is Dunkirk because it's one of the few movies of his that actually understands his strong points aren't in character or emotion, but in spectacle and concept. It's also the only film of his to utilize the fact that he's an extremely cold, emotionless filmmaker. A lot of strong words there, a lot I don't agree with, but I want to get your guys' take on it before I sort of dive into this. Kaleena, starting with you, why do you think that this is even like a point of contention for a lot of people who follow like film and stuff like that? I hear from so many people, it's like, oh no, Nolan's great with the spectacle, but sometimes with the emotions, it's like he's not so great. He's more spectacle over character and craftsmanship and stuff like that. So why do you think that is? And then do you believe that is true?
First of all, let's start off with the fact that this tweet was posted at 6:34 in the morning. So whoever this person is up at 6 a.m. just thinking about the cold heart of Christopher Nolan. And I feel like that says a lot about that person.
Yeah. I
completely disagree with this. I disagree with it because one, I think Dunkirk is Nolan's worst movie. So let's
let's start there. Let's start there.
Here's the interesting thing. I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum of you. I think it's his best movie, but I disagree with why he said it's his best movie. So
okay, so we'll meet in the middle somewhere.
We'll meet in the middle.
I won't even necessarily go into like my review of Dunkirk. I just think it's, and again, lower, like bottom of the list, Nolan is still like an 8. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it a bad movie. It just means that it wasn't something particularly cared for. I'm trying to understand, like I'm trying to remove myself and objectively think what would cause people to believe that Nolan's movies don't have emotion in them, because Interstellar is probably one of the most emotional movies I can think of in memory, maybe just in general. Maybe it's just because like almost all of Nolan's movies have a dead wife or something, like maybe he kind of reuses some of his own tropes, but I think that is also just a stylistic choice of his and Jonathan's writing. You know what I mean? And yes, like he is a spectacular director, and world building is definitely really big, especially for a movie like Inception or Interstellar that takes place in space. But I certainly don't think that he compromises on story or character for that. I think story is the heart of what Nolan's movies are, and then he builds the spectacle around the story. And I also believe that he's very intentional with the actors that he works with. I don't think he just picks people that he thinks are going to make money because his team is going to bring in people to buy tickets, you know?
Yeah.
So I can't think of any of his movies that I didn't feel some kind of a connection to, that I didn't feel were emotional. Even something kind of a little bit off the boat. God, what is that like weirdo?
Insomnia?
Yes.
Insomnia? Yeah.
Even that one, it feels to me the least like a Nolan movie, but even that, like I cared about, you know, I felt the emotion behind it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have like a really articulate answer to this question because I just plainly feel like that person is wrong.
Yeah, I get that. And before we move on to you, Colin, I do want to bring something up. Kieran Douglas here in the chat saying, I think people confuse cerebral with cold. His films are extremely intelligent and require viewers to do the work, but when viewers do the work, his films can be extremely moving. Just because something is cerebral intelligent doesn't mean it's cold. I couldn't agree more. Great observation there. Colin, what do you kind of make of this whole thing?
I mean, I disagree. I mean, I respect the guy's opinion, but my initial, my first thing I thought of was just his earlier work. I mean, you look at Insomnia and Memento, about two basically men struggling with something. Memento being like he's having short-term memory and he's trying to find out who killed his wife. So that's some things that you're able to care for his character, and it's completely character-based as he's finding out this mystery, and you completely dive deep into his character. And then Insomnia is literally Al Pacino just can't even sleep and live with himself with the fact that for what happens in that movie and what he does. I won't spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but I completely disagree. And the reason why he loves Dunkirk so much and the all the reasons why he likes it is why I didn't like it. Is because it felt like his least human movie. And it felt like his least. It was all about the spectacle and the event, and the direction was masterful. It was like the scope was amazing, and he did a brilliant job. But I just didn't connect the characters. I mean, look at something like you said, Kaleena, like Interstellar. It's like literally the message of that movie is like the power of like love. Like that's literally.
No, I don't. That's what, like literally every time this comes up, I talk to my friend Brody about it, and we're always like, just watch Inception and Interstellar. He's a big old softie. Like he is like
Inception. The whole reason that Cobb's doing this mission is so he could see his kids again.
Yes,
and you're diving deep into his thing. You see his wife commit suicide. Like there's so much about this character that you're like, what is going on? Like
here's the thing. It's like the thing with Inception is people are always fixated on it. It's like, oh, is it a dream? Was he in the dream? Was he not in the dream? It doesn't matter. He's at peace. He has made peace with it. Whether or not he's in the dream or not, he's with his kids. He's with his family again. He has made peace with his past demons, and I'm like, that's what matters. That's what should be hitting you at the end, not is the top toppling over or stuff. It's like that doesn't matter.
No, I've always had that take. I was like, not when I was younger. I was like, oh, it was wobbling, but like as I got older, I was like, as I got older, I was like, I don't think it really matters. I mean, he gets to finally like move on from his life, and I'm trying to think of some other films by him. I mean, The Dark Knight Rises really dives deep into the character too.
Yes, I'm glad you brought up the Batman films, because it's like the Dark Knight trilogy is literally criticized for how it handles the action spectacle. Listen, I love it, and I think it perfectly suits the stories that are being told, but it's like it's a movie that is all character. It's all character work. The Dark Knight is it's a Michael Mann crime drama directed by Christopher Nolan. Like that, it is all about the characters and them trying to find the best solution for how to handle the corruption and the evil in Gotham. They don't want a vigilante out there beating criminals to a pulp. Bruce literally wants to give up the mantle so that he can have a life with the woman that he loves, and so that the people of Gotham can have a savior with a face, with someone that they can trust and believe in and rally behind, a true public servant.
And whether that's him or Harvey Dent, and the selflessness of his character, like you just like dive into the psyche of it. So like literally there's, and like I said, like I don't want to, like, we don't know the guy, so I don't know like his thoughts.
Sure, yeah.
So I don't want to call anybody out, but I just completely 100% disagree, because all the reasons why he thinks and it's interesting, Griffin, because like you still love Dunkirk, but I think it's just for different reasons that he does, I guess. But I think that was my biggest problem with it, is I just couldn't buy into the characters. And I know that was the intent, and I get it. And if he wants to make, this is his kind of one movie that he wants to focus more on the event. But yeah, I mean, first of all, my question is too, it's like, what's wrong with having movies that have big spectacle and that focus on that stuff too? And to it makes me kind of question. I mean, I guess film's subjective, but it kind of makes me wonder. It's like, did you watch the movie? I mean, like the Inception has big spectacle. Yes, Interstellar does, but like the scene where you see Matthew McConaughey, the whole part where he sees his kids grow up and giving a message, that just does nothing for you. I guess that that character development and that gut punch human emotion, I guess, got outshined by the explosions in the movie. I mean, I don't think it did. I think
doesn't enter your ears at any point.
Yeah. I don't think it did at all. I mean, I completely disagree.
I also think that people would have equal trouble if his movies were too emotional and didn't have enough spectacle, especially because Nolan has a tendency to work with or create strong masculine figures in his movie. And so imagine the atrocity that would occur if his strong, masculine, manly men were too emotional in his movie. God forbid.
God forbid, yeah.
God forbid we saw Alfred cry again. God forbid the relationship between Bruce and Alfred was too precious. You know what I mean? I think his only mistake was fucking up the casting of Rachel not once but twice. Maggie Gyllenhaal said no one ever. Katie Holmes said no one ever. Except
I will say, I got on Maggie Gyllenhaal got on my good side when I saw The Deuce, and yeah. I don't have to explain myself, but
she's excellent in The Deuce. Yeah, she's really good.
And so Yeah, it's an HBO show. It's great, but she was in that, and I've kind of warmed up to her performance there. But I get that's kind of funny though with The Dark Knight. It's like you kind of get so distracted by the Joker and Heath Ledger's performance, and just the cool nature of how awesome of a comic book movie it is. You kind of forget that it's literally just like he just doesn't want to be Batman and he wants to be with Rachel. Like that's literally all it is. It's like a love story at the core of it. Which is really
it is. That's the thing. It's people get caught up. The emotions are there, but you mentioned The Dark Knight. People get caught up in Heath Ledger's performance, and it's all flash, and it's excellent. But they don't really look further past that. They're like, oh yeah, the Joker's awesome. That the conversation scene between Batman and the Joker. It's like, oh, that's so great. And it's like, listen to what they're saying. Like when you actually pay attention to what they're saying, I think it makes that scene 10 times better. Which. And then also it's not like that's the Joker is not what the whole film is about. The whole movie is more about Bruce, the city of Gotham, and Harvey Dent. That's the heart of this film. The Joker is just the sauce on top. It's the seasoning. It just makes a really great, compelling story even better. I do want to touch on Dunkirk though, because I agree with this person that it's his best film, but I disagree with why they think it's their best film. So let me pull this back up again. So they say that it's his best film because it's the only one that utilizes the fact that he's an extremely cold, emotionless filmmaker. That's not true. And he's better in spectacle and concept. He's great in spectacle and concept, and Dunkirk shows that. But he is not emotionless when it comes to Dunkirk. Like. Dunkirk is a masterclass in all facets of directing. It's a director's movie. It's why, in my opinion, he should have won Best Director in 2017. It was the best directed movie of that year, bar none. By like nothing else even came close to that.
Denis in 2049, no.
It's good. No, it's great, but it's to me like Dunkirk does not work without Nolan literally doing every single thing possible. So. To me, it's really obvious that, it's more immersive. It aims to recapture the experience of what it was like to be on the beach, to capture the anxiety, the terror, the never knowing what the unpredictability of like these German dive bombers like getting ready to bomb the beaches or whatnot, not knowing whether or not you're going to survive. And so in a roundabout way, he ends up showing, once again, that he understands what it's like to be human. He understands human emotions because he's asking the audience to put themselves into the shoes of these characters and to put themselves into the actions. And he creates this environment that it invokes audience emotion out of the audience. And so it's a movie that really is pure emotion. If you think about it, it's not cold or just all about trying to reenact the event of Dunkirk. No, it's putting you in the headspace of the people that were there. He's relentlessly toying with the audience's hopes and fears with this constantly building tension. It's another reason why I think the non-linear storytelling is perfect for this movie. It makes it like a million times better than what it would have been had it not been told this way. Yes, we don't know too much about these characters. We just understand the situation they're in and immediately are able to empathize with that because, my God, it's a life or death situation that actually happened. He highlights, I think the thing that's so brilliant is he highlights bravery in the face of uncertainty with, Mr. Dawson, Tom Hardy's character, and all those people, the people who went out of their way, who risked their lives to help their comrades, the people who were out serving in the war, come home. But then when on the flip side of that, when he shows the soldiers and what they're going through on the beach and when they're confined in that ship, he shows the uncertainty, how that same uncertainty that causes others to be brave can drive others to, showcase more primal displays of desperation. And so he's really showing you the whole spectrum of, what these moments that really forge people and show what a person's worth is. He shows it in really like visceral storytelling means. And so like, I can understand how on first glance, it's like, yes, it's a very cold movie because it utilizes a lot of blues. It's trying to show that these guys are in a horrible situation and are on the brink of death. But I refuse to believe that this is an emotionless movie. It's the exact opposite, in my opinion. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but
I don't know if I agree. I haven't seen the movie in years, and I saw it, and I remember just being disappointed and kind of bored. I'm not saying like what your observation is incorrect or anything, because it's been a while since I've seen it. And all those things could be correct. It still could not work for me, though. That's what I'm saying. It's like you could be like, that could be like objectively correct what you just said, but for whatever reason, maybe it just still didn't connect with me as much as I probably wanted it to, or I did want it to. Because I'm a huge Nolan fan. It's like the only movie that I legit and just I find hard to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Kaleena.
Yeah, kind of coastline there. So I saw it once in theaters, and then even if I hated Dunkirk, which I don't, but if I hated it, I would still buy it because I still want to support it.
Yeah.
So then when I bought it, I watched it one more time at home to show someone, and it helped watching someone who had never seen it before watch it for the first time, and that person that I showed it to loved it, and so that kind of helped like round out my opinion a little bit more. But I kind of what Colin's saying, I think that disconnect is just always going to exist for me. But the way you explained it and your passion for it made me wish that I saw it the way that you did.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it soon, just because I know so many of my YouTube, except for actually the podcast I do with Ryan, he isn't a fan of it. But like a lot of people I know, like a lot of my YouTube buddies, really still have great things to say about it. So I'll give it a third chance. I think I've seen it twice, but I'll give it a third chance for sure. So.
Listen, sometimes it takes a while to warm up to a film. I know it took me like years to warm up to Iron Man 3 and
I didn't. I always liked Iron Man 3. I always liked Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is amazing. So
I mean it is, but no, yeah.
I'm trying to think of movies that took me a while to kind of warm up to.
Honestly, that's a great question, because what were you saying?
Mean Girls took me forever. I think
yes.
Yeah. And again, I fucking hate movies with teenagers because I don't give a shit. But when I got older and I like learned who Tina Fey was, and then I understood the satire of the movie, I was like, oh, this is really fucking smart, and this is really funny, and this is kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Flip side, I just watched Clueless for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I think is maybe one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And
actually, that was on my TV earlier today. My mom's a big fan of it, and she was talking about it or whatever. I don't know. That's funny. I mean, yeah, I've mentioned a couple times Election. I saw maybe a couple times, and I thought it was fun. But then I don't know, like the last 3 times I've seen it, I'm just like, this movie is brilliant masterpiece. But it's funny. Like I'm looking forward to seeing Dunkirk again. I really am. I want to feel something. I want to feel what you feel, Griffin. I want to love it like you do.
That's the thing. It's like I every single time I have this conversation or this debate, or I see people like on Twitter saying, "Oh, Dunkirk is awful. It's like this overrated whatever." I have to take a step back, and I just have to stop myself from losing it, because I'm like, it's okay if you don't like the movie. That's fine. I get it's not for everyone, but like, I don't know. I
kind of, even though I probably like this movie more than Dunkirk, I understand why people like Dunkirk, but when people say they thought Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wasn't a mess, when they act like that was just a perfect movie, I'm like, are you high? That movie has so many flaws, and yet
I think Colin has to leave again, Griff.
No,
I know.
I enjoyed the movie, but people saying it's like top 2 Tarantino, I'm like, are you joking me right now? It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun, and it's got I love the characters and the setting and the vibes and cinematography. Everything's well written and well done, but I was just so bored with the pacing is so bad in that movie. Pacing. So bad.
Wow.
That's just my opinion. I know it's a hot take. It's a hot take. I know. I'm sorry.
It's a hangout movie. Like what? Like that's.
Hey, I mentioned Dazed and Confused earlier, but that was an hour and a half long. An hour and a half. This was 3 hours.
Because let's just move on.
Okay.
she's gonna
blow
a gasket here.
Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry, but yeah.
So I do want to go back to something you said about movies that took you a while to warm up on. I know, Kaleena, you mentioned Mean Girls. I think for me, it was Iron Man 3 and Batman Returns. I hated Batman Returns for the longest time, and I love it now.
I don't like either of those. I honestly don't like either of the Michael Keaton Batman movies. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Tim Burton. I don't like him as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
He's just off-putting to me. I just don't like. I never liked Edward Scissorhands. I hate Beetlejuice. I hate that movie. I absolutely can't stand that movie. I cannot stand it.
Wow, that's hot takes there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. God. All right. So moving away from Nolan and moving into our final topic of today before we start taking some news questions. Actually, I don't know. We'll put it up for a vote. Do you guys want to talk about the possible Heath Ledger origin story that almost was in The Dark Knight, or do you want to just skip over that and just talk about like some of our favorite movies of 2020 thus far?
I'll do favorite movies, I think.
Yeah.
I think that was the kind of exciting one. I mean, the Joker's kind of like old news at this point.
Yeah. We just spent like, I don't know, God, who knows how long, an hour talking about Nolan. So let's move on. Let's move away from Nolan until Tenet comes out. Let's do favorite movies of 2020. So, yes. So basically, how this is going to work, we'll touch on like some of our favorites, maybe some that surprised us, some that maybe we were hoping were good but didn't quite hit the mark, and then just kind of like an overall, I guess retrospective of the first half of the year. So, Kaleena, let's start with you. What are some of your favorite movies of 2020 thus far?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say, as the irrefutable Hamilton fan in this chat right now, we are not including Hamilton because it existed in its form prior to it being released on video, so we do not get to count that, and I made that rule mostly for myself because otherwise that would have been my only answer. Are we going like descending order, or are we building up? Are we doing like 5 through 1? What?
However many you want to talk. You just talk just like however. It's not really too structured or anything.
Okay, so I was telling you guys before we started that I kind of had trouble even coming up with 10 movies that I thought have been good so far this year. And admittedly, there's definitely some that I am behind on that I need to catch up on, some major titles, but I've been really disappointed by a lot. And I don't think it has anything to do with COVID. I think I would have felt the same if these movies had been coming out on time and I'd seen them in a regular theater. That being said, my top 5 is like kind of bananas. Mm-hmm. I'm not even gonna so I'll say my number 5 is actually Eurovision, which I know is insane.
Wow.
That's awesome.
But that's the world we live in, though, you know?
No, I love the pick.
Yeah.
So bizarre. And so I don't know anything about actual Eurovision. I was just like, oh, Will Ferrell being very stupid and also Rachel McAdams, sign me up. I'm here for it. It ended up being really kind of delightful and just kind of like a great, stupid, fun movie. And I showed it to a couple of other people. And for all things that movie is, the line where Rachel McAdams says the elves went too far sent me to my grave. I literally fell to the floor.
Yeah.
I think that was just like a fun palate cleanser to kind of have in this very bizarre movie year that we're having. I would say my number 4 is The Gentleman, which actually I was switching between either Birds of Prey or The Gentleman. I loved Birds of Prey when it came out, saw it a couple times, but as time has passed, I have not thought about it at all, which makes me think that maybe it didn't age super well with me. Gentleman, I thought was just really sleek, fun. I'm always happy to have a new Guy Ritchie movie, and the language was absurd. I stopped counting how many times they said cunt after like 20 minutes.
Oh, it was great. Yeah.
I was just not going to keep up with it. Then my number 3 would be King of Staten Island. I am just a sucker for a Judd Apatow film. I think that his movies always just have so much heart and emotion behind them. I think that aside from being my taste in comedy, he is genuinely a really good storyteller and has kind of kept that fact about him like really steady and almost under the radar. Like, I don't really think he gets enough credit for the kind of filmmaker that he is. My number 2 is Shadow of Violence, which we already talked enough about it. I think it's amazing. And my number 1 that I just like happen to have this mug for is Palm Springs.
Wow. Okay, there we go.
Irvine, you guys.
Perfect. With the T. There we go. All right.
I like
Beautiful.
I'm also just quick thoughts on Palm Springs. I am extremely biased to Andy Samberg. If there's like a handful of people that I'm madly in love with, Andy Samberg is one of them. But I also just love Kristen Milioti, and I think it was such a great use of a type of story that's been done before. I felt it was really refreshing. It was kind of like an existential movie in some ways, but it was also like a love story, and it was also, I think, kind of relevant to the times that we're living in. And I think actually coming out on a mostly VOD platform, I think was really great, because I think it's a movie that maybe, like for me, at least, if it kind of hit you a little bit harder than you were expecting and made you kind of sit and ponder like where you're at in your own life, I think kind of dealing with that thought about yourself in a public setting would have been a little harder. So I think it's actually great that we had that platform to kind of just be at home with that movie and think on it a little bit.
For sure. No, those are good picks. I mean, naturally, I think there's going to be some overlap, but yeah, Colin, what do you got? What are some maybe like your top 5 or something?
Yeah, my top 5. Actually, I want to say Yes God Yes was at 6, so it didn't quite make my top 5, but it was up there. Really dug it. But my number 5 is Birds of Prey. Actually, obviously, Griffin and I did a video together with that. We did Deadpool versus Birds of Prey. That was a lot of fun. But you were kind of, it's funny. I saw the movie and I really enjoyed it. You said like you thought it was better than Deadpool, and I was like, I don't know if I agree with that. So we did the video. I rewatched both movies. I was like, oh my god, Birds of Prey is so much better than Deadpool. It's like
I have that effect. I'm hoping that this happens with Dunkirk now. This is what I want.
Well, yeah. I mean, Birds of Prey is fucking unbelievable. I love that movie so much, and even from an action standpoint, I don't want to compare it to Deadpool the whole time, but I think even in action perspective, there's like no contest. It's like the stunt work and the colors and the cinematography and the scope of it is amazing. It feels small scale, but in like the best way possible. I love it so much. I literally adore that movie. My number 4 is this is probably a popular pick for a lot of people. You didn't have it on yours, Kaleena. That's interesting, but The Invisible Man. I mean, I loved it. I'm not a big horror movie guy. I've always said that on my channel. I'm historically I've not seen enough out there, but The Invisible Man and the ones lately we've seen, like A Quiet Place or Lights Out or Don't Breathe. There's some really good like kind of thriller horror movies that have really impressed me over the years, and this one's a kind of another one that I could put into that like little group of horror movies that I really dug. Elizabeth Moss was fantastic, and Lee Winnell was. I'm looking forward to what he's doing. The Wolfman, I think, with Ryan Gosling. So I'm looking forward to that.
They're looking at it. They're looking to get him. Yeah. Well, actually, no. I think he is doing it.
Yeah, he's doing. He's doing it. My number 3 is going to be a shocker to you guys, and it's going to be it's a shocker to me as well, because I was expecting this movie to be awful. It's Greyhound. I freaking loved Greyhound. I absolutely.
Yeah, that is the Tom Hanks.
Yeah. So this is I knew I was getting like that kind of reaction. I was just absolutely floored with them. In the same way with Yes God Yes, it's not plot, like, it's not a bit going deep into it's going on one aspect of the movie, whereas Yes God Yes is kind of diving into some messages about like sexuality and kind of the hypocrisy of religion, whereas just this one's just straight up the event. You kind of learn very little about these characters and you just go right into it. And I was just watching, I don't know if I was on a good mood because I just watched Palm Springs, which I'll talk about later, but I just got watched Palm Springs. It was like 3 a.m, watched this, and I was just absolutely riveted. And you're like kind of just encapsulated with all the dialogue. It's like fork left turn, and I was just like, I didn't even know what they're saying, but you pick it up. There is zero treating the audience stupid in this movie. They just assume that you're gonna pick up the pieces you go along. I thought Tom Hanks was terrific, and then the script was amazing from a perspective of the dialogue between these characters, and just I loved him, and I'm a teacher, so I could just respect like how he talked to these like fellow sailors. He was just kind of like, you got this, like breathe, you're trained for this, let's go. And I just loved it was nonstop, hour and a half, right to the boat. Like I'm talking about this movie the most because I have to sell it why it's a top 3 movie for me. Because some people were like, oh, it's fine, 3 out of 5 stars. I said 4.5 out of 5. Like I absolutely adored this movie. I loved it. It's like a dad movie, and a lot of people say I have a dad bod, so whatever. I guess there you go. And then number 2, you guys will probably have this up there. Palm Springs, absolutely phenomenal. I put it at number 1, and then I was like, I don't know, and then I put it back, and I was just kind of going back and forth. I just think emotionally the number one hit me a little harder, even though this one did hit on the emotion. Absolutely hilarious, funny, kind of everything you said, Kaleena. And then the number one's The King of Staten Island. I was expecting to be disappointed because I rewatched Judd Apatow's movies and I still enjoy all of them and they're really rewatchable, but there's only like 3 that I really enjoyed, and this is including The King of Staten Island. And I was kind of just like, he meanders a lot. They're a little too long. They're funny, but then they kind of they just kind of overstay its welcome. And I was just absolutely blown away with the things that this movie tackled and just the awesome nature of everything. So I was really blown away by everything.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Greyhound, and I understand, I think, why you appreciate it a little bit more being like a teacher and stuff like that, because that is, to me, Greyhound was just like a reenactment of that sort of event. I mean, it was really, the sound was great. Tom Hanks is of course amazing, but yeah, I know. I am shocked it's at number 3 though. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, I mean, people. I even got. I mean, I usually have like pretty good like to dislike ratio on my channel. It's like 97% or something. I got like 2 dislikes on the video. Like, hey man, sorry, it's just my I like Grey. I gave it an A. I really dug Greyhound and like. Yeah. I just was blown away by that. But The King of Staten Island's the one. I watched it twice. I watched it with my mom and her husband, and they really dug it. They thought it was really funny, and even like some stuff. I feel like I don't know if we're talking about it enough, but like that scene where he did the tattoo on Bill Burr's back, and clearly Pete Davidson's taller than Bill Burr, but he's tattooed smaller because that's kind of how he viewed himself. I feel like we just didn't give that movie enough credit for how, I don't know, intimate it really was in different aspects. And I love Bill Burr as a comedian even before this. Like I literally watched. Oh my God. Like talk about a comedian that just doesn't give a shit. Like that guy's amazing. So yeah, that was my favorite movie of the year, but I know Greyhound's going to be a surprise for some people, but that's just how I feel. It really is. No,
fair enough. I mean, it was fine. Totally, very enjoyable movie. I was surprised it wasn't dog shit, to be honest. That was really where I was. Yeah,
that's the thing. I think maybe if I see it again, I'd be like, oh, it's not as cool. Yeah. Surprise factor, but I was just shocked without. I was like 30 minutes in, I was like, when is this movie gonna start sucking? Because like I just thought it was gonna suck, and I was like, it still doesn't suck. And then the movie ended. I was like, I loved it. So yeah, for sure. Okay, so for me, my top 5 of the year, I won't spend too much time on this because we've covered a lot. But Palm Springs is my number 5. For a lot of the reasons you put. Yeah, I mean, listen, there were a few movies that I just liked a little bit more, but Palm Springs is great.
Onward on your list. I'm exiting this stream.
No, Onward's at 15. You don't have to worry about that. Onward's it's slower. Yeah, what I do have is Onward ahead of The King of Staten Island.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, it was okay. It was
I was kind of sad because me and you talked a lot about it. We texted a whole lot before, and then I saw and then you didn't text me your take. I told you to, and I was like, saw your letterbox. I was like, what the fuck? Man, you didn't like it? I was like, I texted you immediately. I was like, man, you didn't like it as much.
No, I didn't. It was just way too bloated. But anyways, Palm Springs is number 5, just really sweet. You talking about existential movies, how this kind of stacked up to She Dies Tomorrow. I definitely thought this was a way more palatable and actually, dare I say, more relatable interpretation of that. And then also, Sandberg and Milioti, Kristen Milioti especially, just kind of blew me away in this film. And it was really, I mean, it has that Lonely Island signature humor, but it's not, they don't overdo it. And it has a lot of heart to it. It's like really, really, really sweet. So I love that.
We didn't get one Lonely Island song in it though. I was kind of bummed about that.
I think it would have ruined it.
I'm joking. I don't know.
Put in the credits. It would have been fine.
Oh yeah, you're right. The credits.
The credits could have been fine. I just had sex.
Yeah, that was. For number 4, I have Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor. That movie fucked me up. That was just. It shows that he's, he took a page out of his daddy's playbook and he knows how to do body horror really, really well. And it's just, the concept is so mind blowing.
I hate that you said daddy, just so you know.
Took it. Well, why? Because anyways. No, we don't like that. But anyways, yes, Possessor was so phenomenal. Amazing performance from Christopher Abbott in that film. We cannot recommend it enough. It's gonna be one that gets under a lot of people's skin, and I think is gonna affect them. But it's brilliant.
Was that a pun? Under their skin.
No, but there you go. Take it. It kind of
Brilliant.
pertains to the movie. Number 3 is The Invisible Man. Listen, I've gushed about that movie like at nauseum. I think Lee Winnell is a genius. What he did with there. Elizabeth Moss gives one of her best performances ever. It's really effective, simple, atmospheric, and
So
just,
happy it made money. So happy it made money.
Yeah, same. It's fucking phenomenal. Number 2 is The Five Bloods. Did either of you two like that one as much or no?
I don't
I
like
wasn't the
Spike, so I purposely didn't watch it.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a big Spike Lee fan either. I gave this one a try, and I respect him so much as a filmmaker and his craft and how he goes about his films. But for some reason, I don't know. It's a little preachy to me, and it wasn't even that. It was more. I thought it was just kind of a messy movie in the beginning. It wasn't even. I'm not even mad about like the stuff that he kind of wanted to tag. I just thought it was kind of. I thought the performances were fantastic. I'll say that.
Yeah, Delroy Lindo needs to be in awards conversation as well. But interesting. Yeah, I thought this was. I mean, it was confronting, but it was like, I don't know. It wasn't. I didn't think it was preachy. It was just very. I mean, listen, with Spike Lee, you know what you're gonna get. This one just. I think it ended up being one of my favorite ones. It's just like by the time it ended, maybe it was because of what was going on in the world at the time as well. It was like the perfect movie to come out. It just felt like a fucking hand grenade. I was like, yeah, like he's just getting to the root of everything right here. And on top of that,
I love like the mixed like documentary almost feel to it. I mean, you watch it, and you're like, it's a beautifully made movie. There's no doubt about it. For his films just don't really resonate with me as much, except for Black Klansman. I love Black Klansman.
Yes.
Yeah, Black Klansman's really good. I mean, here's the thing. Like, it's definitely bloated. It's messy. It's probably it is less focused than Black Klansman, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's like when he's bringing it all home at the end, man, is it just. It really works. So I loved it.
I will say I did like the finale. It did hit me emotionally.
Yeah, it knocked me on my ass to say the least. So, yeah. And then number 1, I already talked about it, gushed about it for like 20 some minutes. Calm with Horses, The Shadow of Violence. It is. Oh God,
I cannot wait to see it now. I cannot.
So
I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna text you right after and like.
Yes, please do,
dude. It's not hyperbole.
It really is not hyperbole. Yeah.
No, I my expectations are sky high now. I'm super pumped.
Also, I just want to note that Invisible Man was initially in my top 5, and then Shadow of Violence was like everything got to.
Yes, there you go. Yeah,
there you go. I like it.
I'm just happy it cracked your top 2. Honestly, I wasn't sure because I knew you loved it, but like, yeah, it is top 3 like of the year for sure, like quality film. So, but yes, there you have it, guys. Those are our top 5 favorite films of the year. Be sure to let us know your top 5 favorite movies down in the comments section below. That's just the first half of the year so far, but I don't know. I'm curious to see how.
I was gonna say, it could be worse. We could have like with what's going on. I've been a little disappointed with. Basically, it started with The King of Staten Island because I was disappointed in basically everything. Even though I liked The Way Back, okay, and stuff, I was kind of like, nothing's really hooked me. And then The King of Staten Island happened, and then we got Palm Springs and Greyhound and some, and then Artemis Fowl, which was fantastic, obviously. No. And so
yeah. Yeah, Artemis. Well, I guess it's the other side. Really quick, is Artemis Fowl the worst movie you've seen all year?
Yes, that, Capone, All the Bright Places. I read the book. Really disappointed in that. Scoob was not good. And then I feel bad putting this at like the bottom 5 because I did actually kind of get a kick out of this movie. It's To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You. I really love the first one, but the second one.
Sequel. No, fuck that. The first one was like a cute Netflix movie.
Yeah.
In bed one day and I was like, let me watch this bullshit, and it was so good. And then it'll be cute. And it was trash. And and America's Boyfriend was trash, and the girl was. It's all trash.
Very underwhelming. And I was a big fan of the first one. I saw it like kind of like, oh, everyone's hyping this up. Whatever, I'll watch it. And I was like, oh my god, this is so cute. And then I was really hyped for the second one. I was just so it's in the bottom 5, even though I don't hate. I probably should move it up. Honestly, I probably dislike Lovebirds more. I guess that's kind of next. Lovebirds was pretty. It was mildly entertaining, I guess, but not much there. Yeah.
For sure. Kaleena, worst movie you've seen all year?
Bloodshot, bro. And it was the last.
Damn.
Dude, the funniest part about it, too, was it was a press screening, and it was at the Navy Pier IMAX out here. So it was like a gazillion people in the theater.
Yeah.
And the the like ex machina wannabe bad guy dance scene that happens in the beginning, I started laughing so uncontrollably hard because of how bad it was all playing out, that some guy, like some old guy, turned to me. And in his defense, I was dressed like a homeless person. I was wearing like really baggy clothes, and I had not washed my hair, and like I didn't look like someone who deserved to be there. But he turned and he's like, I'm glad you're having such a great time, but some of us are actually here to review the film. It's our job. And I was like, yes, sir, I'm one of them, and this should be hilarious.
Yeah.
And I was like, really mad. And he's like, you need to keep it to yourself. I'm like, this is an honest, genuine reaction to the absurdity of this movie. It was just, not that I ever expect anything better from a Vin Diesel movie, but I thought like maybe there could be something redeeming, and then there wasn't.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, the worst movie I saw all year was Ghosts of War, which no one even heard of, but it was this like VOD.
I thought you were gonna say Capone.
Just don't even. No. I mean, Capone was it would have been the next. Capone would have been the next one, but yeah.
And it wasn't a well-made movie at all, but it was just so painful to watch because of the subject matter. It was just so nothing about it's redeemable.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy accent in that one.
Oh yeah, of course he's Tom Hardy, so he always does. All right, guys. So that closes it out for the topics of today. We're gonna take your live questions for about 10 more minutes, and then we'll close this puppy out. So start sending them in. I see we got a few in there, so we will take them.
We got Daddy. We got Puppy. Where's
Puppy? I don't know what's happening today. I'm on something. I don't know what. Let's see. Okay, Dennis S. Worst movie experience, audience related.
Oh, that's an interesting take on that.
I'll go first on this one. I think I was watching Lights Out. I ended up leaving the movie because the woman behind me kept making weird noises and like scratching her leg, and I was like, I tried to move, and then it like kept following me. I'm like, this is fucking annoying. I'm out. It was so gross, and I was like, why are you here? Go somewhere else, please. Anyways,
man, audience related. I don't even remember like what movie it was specifically, but two people started like doing it in the theater.
Oh my god!
Like
bad.
You know, and one, y'all can tell I'm not a quiet person and I'm not a shy person, so I have no problem turning around and being like, "The fuck are you doing?" But I also work in the movie theater, and so I also know different ways to handle it. But yeah, they just started like banging in the middle of the movie, and I was like, "Can't you go to your car like a respectful young adult?" Very upsetting.
Why? Just anyways.
Keep it in your pants, man.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
For me, I think it was Creed 2. I really dug the movie, but there was these like teenagers in the front row like audibly reacting to the character's decisions, like saying like, of course she's gonna say no, it's real life, like you gotta be realistic, man. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like audibly like and just reacting to everything like out loud. Like I'm like top row, he's bottom row, and I could hear everything that they're saying. I'm like,
that makes me want to change my answer to the 6th time I saw Django in theaters. I don't know what kind of but it was like the whole audience that every time something happened, they'd be like, why is he doing that? No, you can't say that, like, to everything. And I was like, do y'all even understand what's happening? You're talking so much. I don't know. I think there's a difference between having like a natural reaction to something versus just providing commentary. And there's a time and place.
Yeah, like I mean, like I think it was like the 4th or 5th time I went to see Infinity War. I took my ex-girlfriend's mom to see it. We saw it together, just her and I, and I don't even know if it was a baby. Like it wasn't that young. Like he could easily have shut the fuck up. Like it wasn't like it was not like he like I don't know. He just would not stop crying or talking or yelling, screaming. And then like the dad's like about to leave, but then he's like with him, and then he would stop. So then he would stay there and kind of be standing at the stairs watching the movie to get him to calm down. And he would start crying. And it was like, oh my god! And luckily I had seen it 3 other times before that.
Wow.
I would get rid of my kid if they ruined a Marvel movie like that for me.
I do want to bring up 402's awful experience. Someone kept farting in the theater and it smelled so bad. People were laughing and gagging at the same time. It was horrible. The guy had a real digestive problem. Yikes. I don't envy you there. So moving on to Kieran Langer. Have you seen Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2? Aside from them being badly written films, what are your thoughts? I think the kills are pretty good, and Michael is the most aggressive he's ever been.
I don't watch scary movies.
I was about to say, I know Kalena's definitely seen this one.
You know me too, man. I haven't seen them either.
Yeah, I don't like them. I think they're trash. So that's I get where you're coming from when you're talking about Michael being like the most aggressive, but it's like it's overly aggressive. It's like he's trying so hard. I would actually say that the aggressive how aggressive he was in 2018 Halloween is the appropriate level. Like, and it like hit that right sweet spot. So Kaleena is dying over here. So
she looks really red faced over
yeah.
here.
The comment from Christian is he asked the lady to put her baby on vibrate.
Wait, what?
Put her baby on.
I asked the lady to put her baby on vibrate. But that's genius. Like, why?
Wait, crying. That's hilarious.
Yeah, why you bring a baby to it? Honestly, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
People who bring babies to the movie theaters, like, that aren't even. I'll say this: even like kids' movies, it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, they need to at least be like 3 before you bring them in. I think that should be.
Have you guys seen the comedian Tom Segura?
No. Tom
Segura. I've seen him twice in at a comedy show and stuff, but I see all his Netflix specials. But he has a whole bit on babies in movie theaters, and he's like, I think we can all agree on one thing: if you bring a baby to a movie theater, you're a piece of shit. He's like, and if you can't find a babysitter, then guess what? You don't get to go to the movie.
I mean, honestly,
and he told us the whole story, like, about how he was watching it and stuff, and then he turns back to the guy and he's like, "Are you stabbing your baby? Like, why is he crying so much?" And then he was like, "I'm not gonna get all that worked up about the Lego movie," so I walked out. And it was so funny because like that was like kind of the punchline. I was like, "Oh, he was watching the Lego movie," because he said he was super invested in the movie he was watching. It was really funny.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, Eddie S here. Who is a talented actor who you think was not suited for the role? For me, I don't think Jesse Eisenberg makes a good Lex Luthor. We'll start with you, Kaleena.
Well, I agree with that statement, but I also hate Jesse Eisenberg. Probably my most upsetting performance of all time is Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. It makes me want to throw up.
Wow.
I don't hate her as Catwoman. I'm not like I don't feel so strongly about her performance. I'm like, oh my god, how dare you not like her? So I don't disagree, but I don't agree either. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think of movies I really like, actors I really like. One that's coming to mind, I don't even hate this performance. What's his name? Neil Patrick Harris in Gone Girl, I thought was kind of weird casting for that role that he played. I think they could have just put anybody there, like I don't know. I'm just thinking of like Michael Fassbender, for example. Just like somebody like that just could have played a much better job than.
Too big of a name.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I used to be in the Jesse Eisenberg camp. I've kind of warmed up to his Lex the more I watch that movie. But
The Social Network's like one of my favorite movies of all time, so I have no gripes with Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, fair enough. What were you saying, Kaleena?
I said, why do you even keep watching that movie? There's a jar of piss. There's a whole scene built around.
It's a good movie.
Of urine. It's nice.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
I actually,
because my mom's name is Martha and Colin's mom's is named Martha.
Yeah.
He's watching. Their mom is all named Martha. Didn't you know? Did you know?
Yes.
Now you know.
Yes.
The unlimited, the ultimate edition. I people like you know, Griffin, Zach. You guys like acting was really great. I actually picked it as the overrated segment on the podcast as like the ultimate edition. Everyone thinks like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like bread fixes the movie or whatever. And it's like it's better, but then it's just longer now, and it's just really dull still. I mean, you disagree, I get it, but talking about movie theater experiences, not audience wise. I was shocked with how disappointed. That was probably maybe the most disappointing movie I've ever seen. I'm not even kidding. Like Batman v Superman, I was so hyped for it. The trailers looked amazing, except for the last one where they saw Doomsday and told us the whole plot of the movie. But I was so pumped, and then I saw it, and I was just shocked with how bored I was. I have no idea. Like I know for a fact parents took their kids to see that movie. I don't know how those kids were. I felt so bad for those kids. They probably were bored out of their mind with that movie.
Well, that's the thing. It's not. Yeah, it's not a mainstream kind of superhero movie. But
Yeah.
anyways, so actually funny talking about things you shouldn't do at a movie theater. Zeke saying one of my professors took his 2-month-old baby to go watch Midsommar.
Good thing that movie
Wow.
was dark as shit, and your baby probably didn't have a reaction to it.
He's gonna be scarred for life.
Wow.
I'm scarred from that movie still.
Why?
I still have I hate
How
that
dare
movie.
you?
I
How
absolutely
dare you?
I cannot stand that movie. I think I like Kaleena, man. I think we got some. I think I like.
You guys are ganging up on me, and it's breaking me.
Yeah. I think Dunkirk, Batman v Superman. Yeah. So I'm but no,
normally I'm in such like a deep pit of aloneness when I come on Griff's show. It's nice to have a buddy over here.
Yeah. I'm really glad. I'm really glad I met.
On my side of the street.
Yeah. This is not okay. Okay. Last question here. Really big one. Really important too. Last question. Listen, we've been going for over 2 hours. I got to take a break here. It's okay. Last question from Christian. What's your take on pineapple on pizza? Personally, I love it.
It's the way God intended.
Oh my God.
Is it though? Let's be real. Hawaiian pizza is not real pizza. It's fake.
All right. Okay. Here we go.
Bacon on it. Canadians don't know what the fuck bacon is. It's just
so. Yeah, so you agree that pineapple pizza, or sorry, the Hawaiian pizza is fake pizza then?
Hawaiian pizza is stupid, but pineapple on pizza is good when you do like spinach and garlic and Roma tomatoes and black olives and extra mozzarella cheese and all the other crazy shit I do.
Okay, listen, I'm inclined to trust you because you are Italian, but also like.
But pizza
is that good?
An American-made thing. It's not from Italy, so.
Well, yes, that's true.
So I'll say this. First of all, I agree with Kaleena again. Pineapple does belong on pizza, and you know what's funny? This argument came up it's been kind of a debate, like kind of in the social media age. But I grew up eating pineapple on pizza. I never thought it was weird, and I live in Florida, so it's kind of just like a thing that you kind of just eat on pizza. It's just like this is what you do. I live on the east coast of Florida, like that's just pineapple on pizza. Yeah. And I'm a sucker for like pineapple on like hot foods, like on like a chicken sandwich. Like grilled pineapple is like the bomb. Or like I get like Hawaiian chicken tacos at this like local restaurant. It's like but like teriyaki chicken tacos with grilled pineapple on it. It's so fire. So like I'm naturally just like pineapple does belong on pizza. I'm shocked it's even a debate because of where I grow up. But yeah, pineapple on pizza. Have you tried it, Griffin? Have you?
Yeah.
It's sweet and salty. I kind of like it.
It doesn't belong there. It doesn't belong there.
Yes, when you first posed the question.
What did you say?
Didn't you say that yes when you first?
No. I don't. It doesn't belong there. No way.
Dude, my pizza. You're gonna kill me for my pizza. I get pepperoni, mushroom, and pineapple on my pizza.
Yes.
Let's go.
What is wrong with you guys?
You like, and then you dip it in. Oh my God.
Well, okay. First of all, okay. No. I'll give you that. No, yeah. The ranch is no. The ranch is acceptable. I will give you that because I do that myself, no matter what the pizza
hot
is.
Sauce. Yeah. Oh my God, so good.
I weirdly feel like that's a Midwest thing. I don't know, and I'm not even from the Midwest, but like,
but it's also a great idea.
Yeah. It's not bad.
You have good taste if you dip your pizza in ranch.
Well, of course. Well,
ranch
anyways,
like savior for like everything. Dude.
It is. Yeah, you can put it just about on everything, and it doesn't make it awful. So. Anyways, guys, enough pizza talk. That's going to do it for today's episode of Film Forum. Our longest one to date. I want to point out, I think it is our longest one to date. So congrats, guys. We made it to the 2 hour and 11-minute mark, probably 12-minute mark, maybe even more by the time I finish closing this house out. Anyways, thank you all for joining in the chat. It was great engaging with you, having a conversation. And thank you to my two guests for joining me, Kaleena and Colin. Colin, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, man. You guys can look me up, Colin Williams, Colin. I do all sorts of movie reviews, reactions, top 10 lists, fun stuff like that. And I'm really close to 900 subs in the 6 months I've been doing this. So doing pretty good. Yeah.
It's really impressive.
6 months I've been almost at 900 subs. So it's been going good so far. And it's actually this whole 2020 hasn't been horrible for me like it has some people.
Yeah.
Thankfully. Yeah. Doing that. I have a podcast with my buddy Ryan O'Toole over on his channel. It's called the Falling for Film podcast. Check out that. Instagram, Colin Williams Reviews. Twitter, Colin Williams MR. I actually followed you on Twitter, Kaleena, just because I found out we were doing the stream together. And then Letterboxd, C Williams 991. I pretty much review everything on there, new and old. So if you want to see any reaction I ever have to any movie ever, C Williams 991 on Letterboxd. And thanks so much for having me on. I had a blast, dude. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure, man. We'll do it again sometime for sure. And Kaleena, of course, great to have your hot takes as always and your outlandish thoughts on pineapple on pizza. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me across social at Shut Up Kaleena, but I have all social media deleted from my phone right now. So you
won't be able to find her.
Not gonna see it.
Oh my god!
My birthday's on Sunday though, so I'm gonna re-download it just so I can get attention on Sunday, and then
I need someone to talk to about hot takes. I mean, come on.
I don't know. I am gonna repost on Sunday because I'm gonna try to coax people into donating to like the Actors Fund and different places for the arts. Be like, it's my birthday, donate $5, and then once I see people donate money, I'm gonna delete everything again.
For sure. Well, make sure you all go wish Kaleena a happy birthday on Sunday.
Birthday.
Yeah. There you go. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching this again. As always, if you want the audio only version of this, you can head on over to the Patreon in the $5 tier. You get to participate in selecting topics for the show, and then also you get to get the audio only version of this as well. I'm losing energy here, folks. It's been a long stream, but if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the FilmSpeak channel for more episodes of FilmForum on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and then also more reviews and all that good stuff, interviews and a whole bunch more. We'll be back Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time for our Saturday live Q&As as we do. So that's just a really casual version of this where we solely take your live questions. So if you're interested in that, definitely tune in on Saturday. But be sure to like FilmSpeak on Facebook, follow us on Twitter simply by searching FilmSpeak. And lastly, if you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of FilmForum. And until next time, take care.